of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by
just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting it. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Junko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Yes, good morning again and welcome to the Pan-African Friday program that comes your way every other Friday at a time like this one. Welcome you to this segment of the discussions that we're going to have in the studio today. And we're looking at, of course, as usual, issues that affect us, the people who live on this beautiful continent of Africa, our interests and our likes. Of course, including those who are living out of this continent, but also who have the interest of this continent at heart. Africa is a big place for everyone, and people believe it's also historical, but also scientific. That's the credo of human life. You can read from whichever book you read from, and you'll definitely have a trace that life originates from this continent, beautiful continent of Africa. Today, I will be missing two people. I will be missing Ndugu Rugarama, who has disappeared within the streets of Kampala. We are tracing him. But also Ndugu Awich, who I'm told is in Shema, updating the yellow register. I hope he does that very well. And of course, last week he was crowned the paramount chief in waiting. So I think I thought he would be here to be with us. But that's not notwithstanding. Of course, I have another seasoned discussant for today, and Doug, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'm not very good at introducing people. I prefer they talk their names. One time we had a teacher who was called Panicking. Panicking. It's a Mzungu teacher who was called Panicking. And we are having a public function, and then there is a teacher who introduced him now to the parents, that we have our teacher here who is called Mr. Pumpkin. And you can tell how the man turned yellow, red into pink. So sometimes you have to be very careful with the people who are particular on their names. Of course, a name is a name and it's very important. So I don't want to be another pumpkin. Okay. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In 1992, I walked into the gate I've just walked through and started working here. So when I come back here, I have come back home.
Yeah.
And that feels very good.
I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
My name is Vaguma Tinka Simere Richard. So I already said what I am by telling people what I have been done from
because
1992.
Tinka Simere is a very common name for people at least who have followed up issues of media, especially in this country, this part of Africa. And I think many people appreciate and know that name.
So
sure.
I am a broadcaster by profession. I now do some work as the Secretary General for the United Nations Association of Uganda. But also, like you say, I'm relatively common on media platforms. Yes. And it's always nice to be home.
Oh, of course, it is very important. You know, we are not having very many people who have lived within the media fraternity and are still very active. We have had a lot of them who are now fading out, and so people like you are now a resource actually, because there's a lot that, and now even with the coming in of the social media, a lot is happening, and then people need to get back to the basics. And you know, I have heard, this will be a discussion for another day, but I have heard people complain about government being stringent on certain issues. We already have laws. The reason that these laws have not been enforced to the latter is where the relaxation has come in. But there are all laws that govern how people should behave when they are dealing with the media, when they are addressing the public. The decorum is very important.
But also,
but we are moving away. Yes.
You have ethics.
Exactly. Absolutely. So I think one time we shall, the type of you will have to sit and we discuss some of these issues, so that people know that you don't just wake up. There is even a law in this country, just that the government is being lenient, indicating that you cannot practice journalism at whichever level when you don't have a degree. Yeah. It is silent.
Or even when you have a degree,
it must
have a postgraduate training.
Postgraduate.
If it is not in journalism.
But also, you also have to have a practicing certificate.
Absolutely. You're supposed
so
to be
these are things that
exactly
are quiet, but at one point, if people are not going to behave, then I think government will have to refer to that, and people will begin complaining, like now you hear the issue of the court martial.
There's no profession that doesn't have standards.
Professions exist as professions. If you are a lawyer, you are supposed to have a practicing certificate. If you are an accountant, so be so. But what about journalism? And this is a very serious issue where people are looking at serious issues. Of course, all professions are serious, fine. But this is also a profession that needs to be protected, and people have to prove that what they do know what they are doing.
Absolutely.
Today we are looking at the issues of Africa, and basically we are trying to review, to look at what is happening, because it's not happening once, what could have happened with the elections of the African Union Commission chairperson. Because this is not the first time that East Africa, of course, you know, even when you speak about it, now we know that the current chair of the African Union, of the African Commission, because sometimes there's also confusion between the African Union And the commission. So those are some of the things we also have to tell our viewers. But the commission, the current chair is from the East African region.
Absolutely.
Fortunately. Now, unfortunately, is that we had 2 candidates from the East African region. Now, that also speaks volumes. But that even as we had 2 candidates from the same region, we, as a region, it seems like we were able to have a success with a candidate who, I can say, not many would have wished us from the East African region. But this is not the first time. You know, when we presented again Kazibwe doctor, we lost. We presented Amina from Kenya, we lost. We have also presented this one, we have lost. What's the problem?
Okay, so first I think it is important to understand that the African Union Commission is a secretariat.
It's the technical arm.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
of the African Union. So the African Union's organs are different, but at least the key political organs, you can say it's the one where you have the ambassadors.
Yeah, that's the executive.
When you have the ministers.
Yeah, they call it the executive
and then the heads
council.
of state.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I think it's sometimes when, like you were saying, when people say chairperson, then the people start thinking
so
of the
confusing.
chairperson of the heads of state.
It's so
Yeah.
confusing,
Yes,
exactly.
yes. So this is the technical arm that we have presented candidates, sometimes as East Africa, but not with the same voice. The particular case, I think, the latest case of the Right Honorable
Raila Odinga,
Kenyan former Prime Minister, I think is a reflection of where we are now. First politically, but also information-wise, and also I think the age question. I would just try to break that one down. One is, as so in almost all the international jobs, if I may call them oppositions, there is blockism. Yeah. So you find that, for example, and blocks are based on different things. Geographical blocks, you have ideological blocks, you have economic blocks. So different.
In Africa, religion also comes in.
Yeah, in Africa, region also matters. So you find that you will have at the international level a European candidate, and then an Asian candidate, and then a Latin American candidate. So the same as when you come in at the continental level. Southern Africa, maybe through SADC, will present a candidate. Usually you need to have consensus amongst yourselves and then present one. So ideally, this is what we should have done as Eastern Africa. Have consensus and present our candidate as East Africa. Because many times there is also an understanding, usually an unwritten rule, that when the position has been in West Africa, next time it's North Africa, next time it's East Africa. So there's also kind of a rotational unwritten rule. So Eastern Africa had the opportunity this time, but Eastern Africa as a region did not coalesce around one candidate. So while we presented the Right Honorable Odinga, for some of us, the countries, and we supported that one, some of the other countries did not agree. One of the things I think is the conflictuous nature of the current times we are in. Sure. We have important conflicts, particularly around the Congo, which have pitted sometimes us against each other. You know that the SADC countries, for instance, previously have put boots on the ground in the Congo, including the UN, and the countries were divided. Even now, the SADC countries are divided. over the issue of the Congo. How do you go? And then in Eastern Africa, we had our disagreements. Congo is part of Eastern Africa, but it told the East African force, get out, over disagreements. Congo, of course, and Rwanda, the public spat is very obvious. So we were not, in fact, I am told that some of those countries campaigned against the Kenyan or East African candidate.
Apparently, Congo didn't vote for Raila.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that just, you know, it's not even just not voting, but even campaigning against. Yeah. So there are some countries which are sometimes neutral. They are looking to give a candidate because their candidate has done, and they are not so much interested in the position. Sometimes they are willing to trade off. Yeah, you will take the chair, but you'll support us for the vice chair or the other position. So our own, I think, first of all, internal lack of cohesion as the East African region. I think that was very important right from the beginning, and it was very apparent and clear. The other thing that was a campaign issue during this campaign, and this one I got from Addis Ababa, was that the opponent or the opponents to the Right Honorable Odinga were using the age factor. They were saying we are being used as a dumping ground for retired politicians. So the African Commission needs a vibrant, you know, young, and when you take the demographics of Africa.
So that was a perception on that one, I found it funny.
Yeah.
Because when Amina of Kenya, then the foreign minister, stood against Faki of West Africa, they were saying, again, and mainly these are the Francophone countries, yes. They were saying, we need a person who has been in political...
Seasoned.
Yes, at least a politician who has been, because this man had been a minister in his country. They said, we need a person who has been at least in the political circles who can handle the issues of the African Union, because the African Union now needs more of the political push. And then they campaigned against Amina, who they said she is so, her credentials are so good as a diplomat. She can be still continue being a diplomat for us in any of the countries. But now, this time they are saying, we now need a technical person, a diplomat at that, who is young and vibrant. You know, back to you.
But you see, in politics, and you are not just in politics, you are a journalist, but who also operates around political circles. Framing is very important.
Yeah.
Framing is very important. And you see, opposing views try to frame a question to their advantage. So the other time, they framed this to say we need a seasoned
politician
to push the political agenda for Africa. Now they were saying, no, we had a seasoned politician who was in the position. We did not realize what we needed. So we must have made a mistake. Now we need a diplomat. These seasoned politicians, no, they don't deliver. So they flipped this argument again to our disadvantage. And it's just framing. Really, it is not honest that Right Honorable Odinga doesn't have energy or he's not technical. It was just a campaign.
At the same time, I think there were many reasons against Right Honorable Odinga, because other than the other issues, of course, there are about 7 other points that were working against him. There was also the issue of Kenyans themselves never wanted him to be. I think the majority of Kenyans, I followed it up. Even on the evening of the election, there were voices that were coming from Kenya that didn't want Raila Odinga to be elected as the chairperson of the African Union Commission. For reasons, one of them is that when he's in Kenya, he's a strong opponent, and that one will force the government of Kenya to deliver. Of course, with his now bedtime with the ruling party, that one also now becomes a bit tricky. If he will still be trusted as a prominent opposition leader, or he will have to agree to eventually work with the party that is in power, which is likely to happen. But also that the problems of Kenya now, including the economic situation, which is definitely uniform to other African countries, the bad management which the Kenyans, for those who are opposed to the administration of President Ruto, I think that Raila has now become part of that problem. So I think the domestic politics also worked against him. But it also comes at the same time when the president, or I mean the administration of President Ruto is also having skirmishes and bad publicity in the Western capitals.
Yeah, but you see, my little experience both in the UN processes and the AU is that the top guys don't usually pay much attention to the domestic sentiment when they are making choices. That is why you see even some of the leaders who may be using, if you use the media landscape to gauge, who may not be popular, actually can head a whole regional bloc. Sometimes they don't really make those considerations about the local politics. Of course, if you have a negative sentiment flowing from your backyard, it undermines your position.
They say the smell of the backyard will affect the serving at the table.
Absolutely, you can't eat this meal. So, but you also come off as unsuitable if your own backyard is not behind you. I think that was a very important thing. But some people were also saying that even his own government was uncomfortable having him as the chair. So it was a political game of say, we support you, but at the back end, we actually don't support you.
That was also another game from South Africa. South Africa, and on this show, I've been discussing about a few countries, basically about 4 major countries on this continent that you cannot fully put your hand on and say they will support you. One of them is South Africa. When it comes to issues of Africa and generally, you will discuss, you will talk a lot and you agree. But when it comes to cutting a deal, trust me, they are likely to leave you in the cold. You have to have the next card. And the other country is Nigeria.
Absolutely.
You cannot go with the poker last. Somehow you will have issues when you working together. The other country is Kenya itself. And of course Egypt.
And Egypt, yeah.
So those countries, you cannot rely on them when it comes to this blocking. We are now East Africans, we are going to agree on this. Now South Africa was very uncomfortable with Raila. They voted for him, of course, in Addis Ababa, but I think his loss was also a relief to them, because they were not also very comfortable with him, because they have disagreed on a number of issues, including the issue of Israel, because Kenya seemed to be pushing the narrative that Israel is also a victim of the chaos in that part. But South Africa believes that Israel is actually on the wrong side, because now and because of the South African bloc, the SADC comes in. By the evening of the election in Addis, they had agreed that they are going to support the person from the SADC. And that was the guy who eventually also lost. So I think the blocking also, like you said, could have had issues.
Yes, the blocking had issues. The blocks didn't block properly. They didn't have cohesion. But you also see this voting system for these jobs is then people get relieved of block, as you progress and the candidates drop out, people get relieved of the block politics. Because if our block candidate is no longer there, then we go as a country. And so the countries now have, but one of the things that are important that I have seen in these processes, and I have seen this, I wish was here, because I was a bit involved in when he was going to join the Human Rights Council at that time. The delegations, the country delegations in those capitals, the ones assigned to those international organizations, they can give you a vote, but they campaign you in the other nations. So we give you one vote, but we make sure you lose 5. You
lose, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so
that's what I saw happening with South Africa.
Absolutely, yes. So that's also very important to notice that, and you see, like the issue of Israel is creating, now of course with the American dispensation, is creating a lot of people not committing to blocking. Yeah, people start having now country positions as not as opposed to because you could see that South Africa's taking of Israel and its prime minister to the ICC riled a lot of the Western countries, and those Western countries have a lot of leverage and influence on many of the things that we do on this continent. So you have this politics sometimes playing behind the back that we don't see. And it came at the time that Raila is standing,
exactly.
Unfortunately for him.
So, yeah, because then that one, you could talk of the external influences, which was also very, very, very cardinal when you look at even within the blocks within the East Africa. In diplomatic circles, there is the expression of Nairobi attitude. Now, Nairobi attitude is this attitude of arrogance, of entitlement, and that kind of thing. And it could have also worked against Honorable Raila. You remember when they were coming out of DRC, they had gone to see President Tshisekedi. As soon as they were coming out of the State House of Tshisekedi, the Djiboutians were also coming in. For them, as soon as they came out, they took pictures and everything was on the media everywhere. These guys were smarter. They just walked in, did their deal, and they walked out. So the other problem could have been attributed also to the Nairobi attitude, because in the, like I said, in the diplomatic circles, people know that Kenyans are very arrogant.
But you know, I told you framing. I was based in Geneva for a couple of years. And you know, I didn't pick that the Kenyans are more arrogant than some other people. In fact, like at that time, some of the people who were arrogant were like the Libyans.
Yeah, talk about it.
They were quite arrogant. The other people who are very loud and pushy, like are the Nigerians. The South Africans themselves, they have this sense of power and wealth, but also they have a sense of disadvantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have struggled so much, so they see things, when you bring things, they start seeing them in this lens of you are discriminating us, you are bringing us down. So, but you can't be labeled. Somebody can just decide and say that guy is proud. But you see, have you ever related to this guy?
Yeah, to know whether they're proud or not.
I see the way he walks, he's very proud. And that has been the Nairobi's problem. Nairobi was cast as a place of arrogant, uncaring, people. So they take, and so part of the things is when you do something, because you are already
labeled,
then it interprets. So imagine it had been the Kenyans who had gone to Congo and got out without a photo opportunity. They would have said, look at them, these guys are arrogant, they don't even want to acknowledge our our hospitality. So I think that's a big problem. And these perceptions can follow you.
Yeah, and
and
generation
affect
is
voting patterns.
yes, that's
yes,
true.
yes, it can. And so you have seen Nairobi trying to shed off the image of being arrogant. But somehow it's already labeled.
Yeah, yeah.
And that can really undermine you.
Yeah, they have to struggle with it.
Yes.
But also, I think it's not only the problem of Nairobi, because when you now look at the way things are moving, I think we have had a number of chairpersons at the helm of the African Union, of the Commission, and we have had, I think, 2 from West Africa. We have had 2 from Central Africa. We have had 1 from South Africa, and this time we are having 1 from East Africa. Now that also tells volumes, but also is this also issue, upcoming issue. Now, when you look at the commission, heads of departments, like you can see on the screen. We have had 1 from Ghana, 1 from South Eswatini, 1 from South Africa, and the likes. But also the arrangement at the African Union is such that when you have a chairperson, that region will not provide a commissioner for the other agencies. Now, East Africa, we have a chairperson. It means we are now Stafford. We will not have any other office as a commission. But you see, more people are coming from West Africa. So this commission has been dominated by West Africa, now South Africa and Central Africa. And in Northern Africa and East Africa, I think we have been somehow
sidelined.
Yeah, but what is the problem? What do you think is the problem?
No, actually, when we were in Addis Ababa, when I lived in Addis Ababa, the accusation was that Eastern Africa was dominating the positions. In fact, one of the countries that was pointed to was Uganda, because Uganda had people leading positions
within the commission,
security, agriculture, the one that the Honorable Winnie Byanyima was heading. So we had Mugumya, we had Mrs. Tumsime, we had so there was that accusation that the other people had not had adequate time position. It generated a bit of hostility towards us, towards our candidates. So it started becoming difficult for us to have candidates, even when you have a good candidate, a competitive candidate. Yeah, it would still be difficult. Now, when there were kind of attempts, almost rebellion attempts among the countries to try and correct that. Now they tipped it completely. And then, so we got eliminated totally now, and they took it over. So what they were attempting to correct is what now they are doing.
They are doing.
And so you wonder if there was any attempt to correct or just to take over.
And that brings us to the next stage. MPs, Kenyan MPs, were actually threatening to withdraw from the African Union. Yes. Of course, they had their own reasons as to why they felt they are no longer part of this thing. And at the UN, most of the African countries are saying we should reform the UN. If it is to be accommodative, if it is to be responsive, and if it is to have to be sensible. Now, the same thing seems to be happening at the African Union. Do you think there are a number of, do we need to undertake some reforms at the Union?
There's no question. You see, if you are 50 years or more as an institution, the realities are that objective conditions on the ground change, and you must therefore adapt. The calls for reform at the UN are not just African. No, the other countries, there are many other countries, including the developed countries.
Yeah, sure.
Some of the people who have been hesitating about change, for example, at the UN, are those ones who have the veto power. so that it doesn't get threatened.
Yeah, because they know part of the reform is them.
Yes, absolutely. But even the African Union, to be responsive to our needs now, when the African Union was formed, or the OAU, for the Organization for African Unity, we had probably half the population we have on the continent
Today,
now.
yes.
We didn't have many of the countries we have today. We have had a configuration and a change in the countries. We didn't have the same global alignment of forces. There was the Cold War, there was the what, now you... So there have been all these alignments and realignments that we need. I think one of the things, for example, that the African Union is not doing is not focusing on the economic empowerment of Africans. The African Union, in my view, has not, for example, pushed strongly for things like open skies. We talk about these things. When I started traveling, when I was still working here, when I would be going to either Tunisia or Morocco, I would first fly to either Addis Ababa and Rome, or when you're using the one that connects with Air France, to Paris. You would never...
Or London.
You never fly there. Why? And some of these things are still there. If you look at the way the money movements are done, we still route our monies
to some other
capitals,
yes,
first, and they take off. If you see the way our communications are done, they are first routed to outside capitals. So it becomes really a problem. If you look at the African Development Bank, the major shareholders are not us.
Surprisingly, unfortunately.
You know, so yes, there is reform for the African Union to be more robust and address the realistic. Who would be championing, for example, the peace movement moves in Congo? It would be the African Union. But you have Belgium and France and whatever. When the African Union attempted to say, let's have our foot in the Libyan conflict, some guy from France told our presidents, you cannot fly there. But you did not see any outrage from the African country.
Very normal.
It was business as usual.
In fact, for me, if I were a head of state on that plane, I would still have gone.
So I kept saying, if you had 3 heads of state going in, would those French bombers have bombed?
No.
You know? So you have these things. You have 54 leaders all fly to meet one. The China, Africa.
That has been my biggest problem. That has been. A man sits in New York, puts you all across Africa, say, man, hey, shh, come. And then you come and you, really, the other time I saw them being put on a bus in London, I'm like, head of state, and you're also being put on a bus and you are like a head boy, I mean a school boy.
So this needs to reform itself and see. Look at the infrastructure. Each one of us gets a separate, different loan from the same country. Each of these countries, to build a road that connects to each other.
The same road, actually.
The same road. We borrow at different terms, different interest rates. Really? We need to reform. We certainly need to reform. And this is, for me, this is existential.
Sure.
It's not negotiable. Yes, if we are going to remain as a continent that will still exist, as a race that will still thrive, there is no question. We don't have an option. We just have to have an African Union that... This thing of passports and visas. Now, when am I, Baguma, going to run away from Uganda to go to Ghana or Mali? That I am migrating, for what reasons?
No, even if you so did, what would be the problem?
I mean, what's the problem?
That the issue of the visas, of course, I've heard people trying to say, but definitely you don't need a visa to visit your neighbor, to visit your relative.
No.
You don't need a passport. We need an African passport.
Absolutely.
Now, the issue of, we are talking about these things because we are looking at the Africa, because it will also go down back to even the voting at the African Union. You know, the thing is it's funny. You even can go up to the 10th round.
Absolutely.
Until you get a person getting, why? Can't we reform that? That this tension is easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you saw the other time Raila winning, then the other time is losing, the other time is winning, the other people. So people are now cutting deals. Say, if we do like we used to do in primary schools when we were electing
I will
monitors.
share your pancake.
Exactly.
I will share your pancake. And these are leaders with a billion people.
And you know, African Union is modeled on the European Union. And when you look at the structures of the African Union and the European Union, they are very far different.
Very.
Even in the operations,
Absolutely.
even the linkages.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot say you are going to have a chairman of the African Union, now the actual African Union, for 1 year. And after 1 year, another person comes. The other time, we even sat here to discuss about it. President Tshisekedi was the chairman of the African Union. When the African Union was having issues of Libya, but the same chairperson who is looking at the African Union to take decisions is also having big problems back at home,
yes.
similar.
Yes.
And what do you expect to do?
You can't get any attention even basic attention to read through nothing.
So I think the African leaders need to think from outside the box. They can also even think from outside within themselves.
Absolutely.
That we need to have people who will be answering to us. And it doesn't have to be us maybe. But we can have people there who will be responsible for Africa.
Absolutely.
For example, we now having issues in DRC. And like you put it, you are going to have people from Europe, from America, from where to come and discuss issues in your house. When you, the man of the house, you are not even there.
You are not even, you haven't.
You are not even consulted. If someone is going to tell African leaders that don't fly in that place, we are on Africa. Sincerely, and life comes back to be normal.
Yes, you don't see any pushback.
So when you look at the structures of the African Union, like it appears on the screen, you see there is a lot of things are not very well understood.
Yes.
Even to the Africans themselves. We are here talking about the African Union Commission. What does it do and what does it not do? Maybe we shall also have time to come and talk here. And what about the Executive Council? What does it do and what does it not do? The ministers, when the ministers of foreign affairs sit down to sit, what they do, and then these other commissioners, 6 of them, what do they do and what are they not supposed to do? Yes. Now, if you have this leadership in place, for heaven's sake, why can't Africa take charge of its issues? Why can't we tell America, tell Russia, tell China, get your forces out of this country?
Yeah, but you see, if you have an African Commission, why can't we at least negotiate for one infrastructure project?
Exactly.
Because with all these costs brought together, you have scale, and there are many advantages to scale. But you can also negotiate very good rates, the very best rates you can find. But this infrastructure will help facilitate this unity that we need. And that, for me, the Commission, as the technical arm, would perhaps be looking at this. Look at Ebola or COVID. You know, we know that these things are affecting the continent. When we had COVID, the ones who had the medicine said no.
Now, when you talk
about,
when you talk about that one, for me actually, I sometimes feel like getting annoyed. When you look at the African the Center for Disease Control, what does it do?
But you know, the Center for Disease Control does not have a single coin from an African country. Ourselves.
Exactly.
We are not contributing. So
no, we laugh at these things, but these are serious
but
things.
They are fundamental, yes. They are fundamental to our existence because we needed to have our vaccine. The Center for Disease Control, the African Center for Disease Control, the headquarters, the structure, I think now it is finished. When I was there, they were building it, was not funded by Africans. It was a grant from foreigners. We couldn't even fund where the laboratories could be ourselves. So so when you have now a acrimonious electioneering process for a chairperson of the commission, how much time would we need to recover from that and start speaking business?
So how does now this man Muhammad go to Nairobi to meet the president of Kenya to discuss an issue of the African Union?
How does this man now come and how is he welcomed? Even to convene, even if you are convening.
Yes.
How do you convene? People, they will not come. There is no, you have done a lot of damage in the electioneering.
Exactly.
And you recovering from that will take away from the people's agenda.
One thing, getting back to this election is Africa having an ideological deficit?
Disorientation.
Because how on earth would you, I know it is not bad because it happens, but given the diverse, the socio-economics and the political, but also the cultural and social diversity of this continent, you have a chairperson who is a Muslim, you have a vice chairperson who is a Muslim, and you also have other commissioners without looking at the, because the religious factor, I think, on this continent is very important. All of us Africans, of course, I'm not saying that one shouldn't be because it comes from a religious background which is different, but I would be more comfortable, and I'm sure many other Africans will be also very comfortable of that mix, that we have a person from we have, and like we said, these are the reforms that we need to be looking at. If you have someone from East Africa and a man, and you need a woman from some other part, but also look at the religious. If the gender issue is very cardinal, then also look at the other aspects of our existence.
And you see, we may want to bury our heads in the sand and say, oh, no, we are all Africans. But we also have to be mindful of the realities. Yeah, what are the realities? But also the sensitivities. You see, if you have a country with a certain belief set, and what you are doing is not sensitive to those sets of beliefs, you are going to generate hostility and opposition.
Sure.
People will push back against you. So you have also to have these sensitivities, but also diplomatically, because a lot of diplomatic work is only seen at the end. Diplomatic work is always behind the doors.
Exactly.
So you need to have somebody who can come behind the doors and is acceptable. So if you have this religious divide, at least in our heads it exists, we know, you also need to be sensitive to it.
Sure.
Gender, yes. Regional balance, yes. But also religion.
We are running out of our time. This has been a very interesting discussion. I think we'll pick it from there next week, because issues of Africa, when it comes to issues of our existence, they are very cardinal. But we'll have your closing shot on this.
No, I think for me, I have hope. I am a very hopeful African.
Sure.
I think Africa is rising. And you need to see a reflection of yourself, that you have an entire program dedicated to Africa. So imagine if we all did. So for me, I have hope that the Africans are learning, the Africans are getting educated, the Africans are getting into technology and innovation. And I really have hope for this continent. Yeah,
thank you so much, Bwana Tinka, for being with us on this show. And I thank the audience, the viewers who have been out there with keeping us with us for this whole hour, and we appreciate your time. And we also thank the team that has been behind the production of this program. Until next week is when we shall be again continuing with these discussions. And of course, these are the things that are actually us. They form who we are, but sometimes we don't look at them critically. So this program is here to have of some of these discussions so that the African person can understand the environment in which they are living and what happens in this environment. I thank you all for being with us, and until next week, take care and have the best of the weekend, and happy Women's Day. Thank you.
International Women's Day is celebrated annually on 8th March. It is a time to reflect on progress made, to call for change, and to celebrate acts of courage and determination play by women. On Saturday, 8th March, Uganda will join the rest of the world to commemorate International Women's Day. The national celebrations will be held in Changwanzi district under the theme Accelerate Action for Gender Equality. The President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will be the chief guest. Join us for the live broadcast to witness outstanding women receive medals in recognition of their achievements and contributions to the country. Happy Women's Day.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari heritage advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock on my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting it. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
CC got you fascinated. Jump up on the brand new ride, BMW riding, baby. I ain't gonna tell you lies. That's just how
we run one of the biggest live audience TV shows in the land.
Can't go with it, I got glory, glory, glory. Hey, now you tell me. Glory, glory, glory. Hey, can't go with it, I got glory.
Now this involves a lot of prep, a reliable team of professionals. A stylist.
Everything for this life got balance. Evidently more gallant. Happiness deep inside of me and nothing fit to steal. If my job life, I'm a job. To the people that go talk. I don't need your validation. Steady on my way to the top. So I pull up like a boss.
The artists.
Tekina tekikugyako obufukamira n'omwami w'ekyokunywa.
Bwe tuba nga bye tukola bibanyumira, you are welcome. Bwe batebibanyumira, we are also doing our own thing. Thank you.
Nze omuntu gwenjagala temujja mumanya paka wanaakola ennyo ave mu gallery.
And so much more. We are Horizon Vibe, and there is
no vibe like
Horizon Vibe. Catch the latest in music, interviews, performances, and so much more every Saturday with me, Calvin the Entertainer, from 10 a.m. on this channel.
Teens Crown, an amazing off-the-hook youth program, brings you an array of fun, exciting, and educative segments you do not want to miss. From red carpet moments to proms, youth empowerment programs to youth gig vibes, and so much more, Teens Crown will get you hooked. Only on UBC TV every Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Don't miss.
Tonight on UBC.
How would you describe our electoral processes in this country?
It has become very commercialized.
Does the law give you a duty to declare votes and at some point you can leave out others?
For us, we have to declare within 48 hours.
Yeah, they say you are biased, so you bring in all the districts where you're sure your candidate is winning. Where they're not winning, you delay those districts.
It is not a deliberate ploy on the part of the Commission to receive far-off results. It is because of the voting populations in those areas.
The biggest accusations that come on your side so much relate with neutrality. How neutral are you yourself?
Very impartial. Very impartial.
Tonight on UBC.
Seems to me now that the dreams we had before are all dead. Nothing more.
The holiday table is set. Steam rises from freshly prepared dishes. Family photos line the walls, but one chair remains empty. An empty chair that wasn't supposed to be empty today. All because someone thought arriving 5 minutes earlier was worth speeding through that last corner. Modest nation. This festive season, thousands of chairs across our country should not remain empty. Chairs that hold our fathers, mothers, children, friends. Is your rush worth leaving an empty chair at someone's table? Drive within speed limits, because every empty chair tells a story of loss that could have been prevented. Speed kills. Drive to arrive alive. Tofira Kukubo. This message is brought to you by Uganda Broadcasting Corporation in partnership with Uganda Professional Drivers Network, Private Sector Foundation Uganda, and Maritime Cargo.
My name is Amos Muhinduki. I'm the chairperson Loans Committee for Chaka Central Produce Dealers Circle. We received the funds in 2021, so we have gone 2 years down the road. We got 30 million, but at the moment we have around 52 millions. We have 54 groups from within Chaka Central alone, and around 34 groups have benefited. We're expecting another funding from government so that we can also bring the other groups on board. We give them loans. First of all, they pay shares and also save 10% of the loan amount that they want, and they take the loans for 6 months.
The Property Line, everything real estate, construction, class, and luxury.
Real estate, it's land and development on land.
We are now, as a country, in an auto-drive mode with respect to real estate.
We have a deficit in housing of more than 2 million units.
For the real estate, when you have income, I want you to contribute something.
Don't miss The Property Line every Saturday 7:30 p.m. and Monday 11 a.m. only on UBC TV. Inspiring Uganda.
The stage is a world of entertainment. Get the latest entertainment, lifestyle, events and activities. Chats with celebrities that make headlines.
It's your girl Zari, Mama Tifa. I'm in town, I'm in Uganda.
It's showbiz. Join me, Mary. I intend to connect you to a lot of fun. Cause I know you want it, you love it, you enjoy it. All on Powerful Level Magazine, reloaded for you right here on UBC. Don't miss out every Saturday, 12 p.m.
We're going to be talking about farming, but it's not me that's going to do that.
My name is Hava K. Luanga.
My name is Larry Charles K.
Let's go!
Mixed farm is a type of farming that involves growing crops and raising livestock. This is the spice garden and for the vegetables.
My first favorite spice has to be black pepper.
What's black pepper in Uganda?
Kamulali or mudagavu.
What? We're going to talk about the sechunga. We're going to see how big it is, as big as Larry's head. And then we're going to talk about the mangada. So we're going to get there. We have still so many farms to visit, and I would like to hear from you. This is the Little Farmer Show, and we are bringing coolness back to farming. See you!
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Qualified, professional, and compassionate doctors talking real solutions to real health problems.
Do you have an abnormal discharge or itchiness or a wound in your genitals? Did you know that genital infections are among the common reasons a person would make a visit to the doctor? With me in studio is Dr. Chigundu Spire and Dr. Sematimba Kato from Henrob Medical Center to tell us more about genital infections and all the misconceptions surrounding that. So you're most welcome to the show, doctors.
Thank you.
And again, I'm your host for the evening, Dr. Darius Owachi. So without wasting further time, let's dig into understanding more about these genital infections and all the myths surrounding it. So maybe we'll start with you, Dr. Chigundu. You know, genital infections are quite a sensitive and potentially embarrassing issue in couples' lives. And there are lots of myths around it. So just give us an idea, what exactly are these genital infections that are causing these unpleasant symptoms?
Genital infections are infections that affect the genital tract, that is male and female. Okay. And urine tract infections are infections that affect the urinary system. Sometimes people confuse the two.
Actually, that was going to be the next question. What is the difference between the genital infections and the urine infections? Are they the same? Most people think they are the same. So I want to know tonight, are these the same terms?
Certainly they are not the same, though in men there is an interlinkage of the two because the genital system in a man serves both as a urine tract system. Okay. So most infections that affect men usually go through the tube that passes urine, what we call the urethra, and it is the same tube that we use for genital purposes. Okay. So genital infections and urinary tract infections in men are more like almost the same. Okay. But in females, genital infections are different from urine tract infections because the systems are quite separate. Yes, and commonly urine tract infections will affect the tube that passes urine, what we call the urethra. Then the infection ascends slowly, if untreated, into the bladder. That is what we call cystitis. Okay. Then from the bladder, if unattended to, the infection will ascend to the tubes that carry urine from the kidneys, and we call those ureters. And eventually, the infection can spill over into the kidneys.
All right.
So that is the track of the infection.
That is the urine system. Yes. Whereas the genital system refers primarily to the reproductive system. Yes. So saying in men, where is the linkage? Because you say the two are interlinked. So where is the linkage in men? The reproductive and the genital system and the urinary system.
You know, the male system essentially. The tube that carries urine, what we call the urethra, plays real double purposes in a man because it is the same tube that carries semen. Okay. The only difference is that the genital tract in a male ends into the testes. But the urine system, still from the bladder up to the kidney, is different. So they join at the point of the bladder.
At the point of the bladder.
Yes.
So that's why the interlinkage is. All right. So Dr. Sematima, now the big question is, most people commonly think sexually transmitted disease, which is primarily a genital infection, is the same as a UTI. Why is this so, and what is the difference between the two?
Genital tract infections affect the genital system, or the system used for reproduction.
Okay.
So the system used for reproduction is quite different, or could have some similarities with the system used for collecting and passing urine. So, because of the small differences and similarities, it brings some confusion, especially in the community. However, the urinary tract infections affect the system from urethra, bladder, ureter, and kidneys. Kidneys are the ones which make the urine. And the sexually transmitted infection, like it appears, they are through contact during sex. They are transmitted through contact during sex.
So how about the UTIs? How would the UTIs now be acquired or got? If you're saying the systems are different for the genital infections, it's primarily during the act of the reproduction, right? The sexual act. So UTIs, how do they come about?
Now, urinary tract infections could also be due to acquisition of microorganisms or bacteria that can essentially ascend from urethra upwards. So we usually pick these microbes or microorganisms from the environment, and then they get their way into the body, and then they access the tract, which will lead. When these microorganisms, sometimes the system clears them, but sometimes they overwhelm the body and they cause disease, and we get urinary tract infection. The commonest being infection of the bladder, which is called cystitis.
So regarding genital infections per se, Dr. Chugundu, what are examples of these genital infections? Now you're raising people's curiosities. They thought UTIs were the same as genital infections, but they're not. So which are the examples?
Genital infections, as we elaborated earlier, being infections of the genital tract, can be categorized into different groups. There are those which cause discharges, and under these we have Candida albicans. Candida is a fungus, which is literally almost the most common genital infection that causes discharges. Then we have other infections that cause discharges, like Trichomonas vaginalis. It causes a yellowish discharge, which sometimes is itchy. Then you have
bacterial vaginosis.
Yes, bacterial vaginosis. So those essentially are the three most common.
Most common genital infections.
That cause discharges.
That cause discharge.
Discharges, yes.
Okay.
But that mentioned, there are other things that can cause discharges, which we really can't overlook. Things like cancer of the cervix, cancer of the uterus. It's very good to talk about them, because sometimes women do not know that any discharge warrants to see a doctor. Every time a woman sees a discharge, you should not just think about infections alone.
Okay.
You should also think about the big ones, like cancer of the genital tract. Some of these come with bad offensive discharges. But some of these infections can also cause cancer of the cervix, for example, and cancer of the vagina is caused by another group of infections, the one we call, there are some viruses. Yeah? We have the herpes, we have the HPV, especially that HPV, human papillomavirus. It is a very common sexually transmitted disease and a genital infection that causes cancer of the cervix, genital warts, and cancer of the vagina. Then you have those that gives you ulcers or wounds. in the private parts.
Right.
And,
I think we'll come back shortly to explore more about these infections. It appears to be a very wide group, and we're just kind of scratching the surface and going into depth of each of the diseases. But we'll be back shortly after the break to discuss more. If you have questions regarding this topic, regarding UTIs or genital infections or STDs, we want to decipher all those myths and misconceptions around it. So send in your comments, send in your questions to us on our social media handles. We'll be happy to reply and respond to each one of them. Don't go away, stay, we'll be right back.
You are watching the Doc Talk Show.
In particular regard to STDs, we know it's a type of genital infection. What exactly are these STDs?
Thank you very much. STDs are sexual acquired or sexually transmitted diseases. And these diseases actually occur from the common infections. And these common infections in our population are those infections that can cause discharges. Then we have infections that can cause wounds or ulcers.
Wounds or ulcers?
Yes.
So those are the main two.
Those are the two broad categories.
Those that cause discharges, those that cause ulcers. And among the very common diseases that cause discharges is one called Candida. So Dr. Sematimba, one who posed the question, is Candida an STD? One of the most common questions I'm sure you interface with your patients in the clinic.
Thank you. Is Candida an STD?
Yes, because it will cause a discharge.
Well, yes.
Dr. Chigundu said to cause either a discharge or to cause an ulcer or a wound.
So I think that those are some of the myths we need to break. Candida is not an STD.
Okay, how so? Because
Candida...
there are those which are not STDs but can cause discharges?
Exactly. Now, Candida being one of the commonest manifestations of a discharge, people think it's sexually transmitted.
Yes.
But Candida is caused by an organism which is acquired from a fungi, which is acquired from the environment.
From the
now,
not sexually transmitted.
Not sexually transmitted.
From the environment. How does it reach? Now, how does it come from the environment?
Exactly.
Into the
the
discharge.
Being the design of the female tract, it's crowded somehow and provides that environment, culture, warmth, and all those things for this Candida. It's called Candida albicans to flourish. So it's basically a fungal infection that is acquired from the environment that sometimes overwhelms the body and then manifests as a whitish discharge that is like spoiled milk. Yes, usually like curdy, spoiled milk. It also causes itching, and women can itch and scratch. So sometimes it becomes red actually. It can be very uncomfortable when they itch and scratch.
But it's not an STD.
It's not an STD.
Okay, so which are the STDs then? If Candida is not, at least demystified, we have thrown light that Candida is not a sexually acquired infection or sexually transmitted disease.
Yes,
so
actually, when someone has it, you don't have to treat their partner.
Okay, because most people will say if the wife has Candida, the man also has to go for treatment.
Exactly.
So
maybe also to elaborate a little bit more before we go there, for the fact that Candida is a very common manifestation and the biggest reason why most of these women come to us. We need to know that Candida is really more of an optimistic infection. It takes opportunity for when the immunity changes. Candida will grow. In some research, we really found out that actually most women have Candida, the organism, that fungus colonizing the vagina. It is only that it is kept in check by the environment. Physiologically, a woman's reproductive tract is supposed to be acidic. And what makes it acidic is a special type of bacteria called lactobacillus, which is naturally a resident in that area. Now that bacteria, yes, that bacteria produces a moderate amount of acid that keeps off other organisms from growing. It is normal, including Candida. Anything that changes the environment, that changes the growth of that organism or suppresses that organism called lactobacillus will reduce the acidity of the vagina and Candida will grow.
So, what are those common things that can change the woman's environment and make the Candida come?
Common changes are hormonal, especially pregnancy. During pregnancy, the environment changes. The acidity reduces, the vagina becomes more alkaline, less acidic, and this favors the growth of Candida, of that fungus, which now becomes a disease. Women who have immunosuppression of any sort, you can have immunosuppression because of previous disease. HIV is very common. Diabetes, when you have uncontrolled sugars, they will alter the environment, and Candida is actually quite common in women with uncontrolled diabetes.
Is it true that some people think going to the toilet, you know these toilets, the public toilets, they commonly say this toilet, because of the hygiene conditions, they got Candida. How true is that?
Actually, that's not true.
That's not
to be realistic, that's not true. Candida is not acquired. It could be a conduit, but we don't usually say that someone used the public toilet, they are getting Candida. It's not very true.
Okay.
Yes. So it's not picked off toilet. Yes. Yes.
But somehow it is a change in the woman's environment which makes the fungus come.
To pick up from what he said, actually, some practices like douching. Douching is that ladies who clean, they go up. Yet cleaning is supposed to be where you see on top. Is it
cleaning the outside?
Cleaning the outside.
Not cleaning the inside.
They go inside, use like 3 fingers, go clean. They scrub. They go an extra mile. Actually, that changes the environment and gives room for Candida to grow.
Especially using detergents.
Exactly.
Like soaps, these hygienic products which have chlorine in them. It really alters that bacteria, kills it, and gives chance for Candida to grow. Actually, we've found out recently that the irrational use of antibiotics, especially in Kampala, has caused a lot of problems.
The antibiotics.
Exactly.
Could you throw more light on that? How are the antibiotics? I know many people, like, whenever people fall sick, they will first say, I don't want to take some, azithromycin or some antibiotic. So what is the effect of antibiotics?
Incidentally, every woman in a population has used antibiotics at a certain point. Irrationally. When people have a cough, when they have a flu, when they get all sorts of illness, they will run to a pharmacy. The use of antibiotics in our country is not well regulated. Actually, antibiotics are not supposed to be given without a prescription. But most people will just go and give me some ampiclox, give me some ampicillin, little cups of blue and black, you know.
Yes. Actually, that's for 2 days. Give me for 2 days.
Yes.
So those treatments are causing the Candida.
Exactly.
First of all, the antibiotic sweeps and destroys the normal bacteria. They're supposed to guard the vagina. So the acidity will go down and favor Candida to grow. Then you have antibiotics actually quite irrationally used even in poultry. There's a lot of antibiotic use in poultry, chicken farming. And these birds are given a lot of antibiotics and we consume them, more so the women.
So this guy eating
the resistance,
no?
Yes.
And getting
comes back to the human.
The infection.
Yes.
Not that they're acquiring the infection sexually, but it is what they are putting in their system.
Exactly.
The antibiotics they buy from the pharmacy or the food which is.
And the clinicians and the health workers have not helped that much, because every time a woman walks into a medical facility with a vaginal discharge, they pump her with more antibiotics without even examining to know what. But Candida is not treated with antibiotics. Okay. So all this is actually a vicious cycle.
So, but what is clear in light is Candida is not an STD.
Exactly.
All right. So at least that has been brought out very clearly. Neither is a UTI an STD. Yeah?
True.
UTIs is, like you said, UTIs are infections only of the urine system, and Candida is much as it's a common genital infection, it is not sexually transmitted. So I think that's one of the biggest points people should learn. But coming back to STDs now, what are the common STDs we know?
Oh, before we go to STDs,
yes.
There's something very small that we need to mention. There's something called bacterial vaginosis.
Okay.
Actually, it's as common, it could be as common as Candida. And usually it's also an imbalance, like my colleague has said. It's an imbalance in the flora, in the microorganisms. So when this microorganism is overpowered, the lactobacillus, you can get other organisms growing. So you get what we call bacterial vaginosis, which presents like with a frothy, foul-smelling discharge. Yes.
Is it done? It smells like almost a fish.
Exactly.
The fish smell.
And usually the smell is increased or is exacerbated by sexual intercourse.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the things that I usually tell women is that largely, of course, the vaginal tract is supposed to be moist. It's supposed to have some sort of discharge. It's a wet area. It's not a dry area. So if you find yourself that you're having an excessively abnormal, actually in terms of quantity, if you find that a discharge starts to stain pants, it could be abnormal. If a discharge changes color, then it could be abnormal. If a discharge is bloody or it has an abnormal smell, then go to a doctor. Those are some of the simple things. Actually, some women have a bigger volume of vaginal discharge than others. And they would come running to you saying that it is
I'm sick, they say.
Yes,
Okay.
and
But
even
sometimes it's
said
okay.
women with IUDs, it's another common thing. Intrauterine devices can
we'll
also
come back
cause.
to a quick discussion on IUDs and their role in STDs. But more about this coming after the break. Please join us on our Twitter handles on Facebook, on Twitter. We'll be able to respond to each of the questions or those ideas or misconceptions you have about STDs and discharges, common discharges like Candida or the likes. We'll be right back after the break.
You are watching the Doc Talk Show. You are watching the Doc Talk Show.
Welcome back. In today's discussion, STDs are the center of attention with lots of controversies and speculations around it. So I want to know from our guest doctors, what are the common types of STDs that the community suffers from? Dr. Sematimba, do you want to start us off on this?
We don't have so many that cause ulcers, but they are there. But commonly, the ones that cause ulcers in our setting include herpes simplex, which is caused by herpes simplex virus, usually type 2. And it causes a painful ulcer.
They're usually very painful, almost like blisters.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's painful.
And they keep coming and going.
Exactly.
They never cure.
I'm telling you, it's very painful. People who have suffered from those ulcers will tell you the story that it's painful.
Those are called the genital ulcers.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So herpes simplex causing genital ulcers.
Yes. So there are others like human papilloma virus, which causes warts.
Okay.
These warts appear like flowers, like dirty flowers. Yeah, they can cover the whole genital tract system, the external part, and it's not nice. It's not
a pleasing
oh
sight.
my God! When you see it, you don't. And the problem is usually because of the location of the wart. He will tell you that most women come covering themselves and they are scared of showing you what they have, but we can help. And also we have syphilis. This is known to almost everyone. Syphilis causes a painless ulcer. It's painless. That's why.
But it's kind of fresh and like it has.
Exactly. It's elevated.
Like a real wound with water coming up, but no pain.
When you see edges, they are elevated like this. So, but it's not painful. That's why the community usually, the people ignore because they're not painful. They can continue with their daily activities.
A very common thing that I think most African societies think if there's no pain, probably it's not a sickness.
Exactly.
So syphilis is one of the, I think it's the only STD which causes painless ulcers. If I'm right.
Yeah,
the others are probably painful. So Dr. Chigundu, apart from the ulcers, there's the other side, the discharges, which I think are the biggest majority. What are these common infections that cause the discharges, which are STDs?
We've mentioned Candida as one of them, but it's largely not an STD. Then you have other causes of discharges, which are really STDs, meaning they're sexually transmitted, especially chlamydia. Chlamydia is very, very common in the population, though it is underestimated, but it is one of the biggest causes of discharges, especially in men. Most common cause of urethral erosion and discharges in men. And then you have gonorrhea. Gonorrhea has not gone away.
Those two kind of go together, gonorrhea and chlamydia.
Yes.
Even in the treatments, they kind of treat both together.
Yes, exactly. Gonorrhea is kind of more aggressive than chlamydia, and we used to call it Obulwadde. It was a disease of strong men. Meaning that a man who had more than one woman was seen in society as so gonorrhea and syphilis somehow. If an ancient man didn't have gonorrhea or syphilis, was never suffered from gonorrhea, I would say you are not yeah, but it is a very aggressive infection, and if a man has intercourse with a woman, within a week, they will start dripping. It's associated with aggressive erosion of the urine tract and then formation of thick pus, which will be seen. A man with gonorrhea will scream in the next urine.
So it is a painful discharge.
Painful discharge causes thick pus in your urine. Unfortunately, in women, gonorrhea does not give symptoms.
Though in men may actually they may say I'm itching. They may not describe pain, but we may say itching.
But they actually mean pain.
Yes, exactly.
But in women, there is no pain.
In women, gonorrhea goes for the cervix, and it's around the cervix, causes what we call cervicitis. So if you're not very keen, you might not diagnose it quite easily and quite early.
So in women, what will it cause?
And it causes cervicitis. First, it hits around the cervix, and then quickly ascends into the uterus, the tubes. It causes aggressive destruction of the tubes, and it's the #1 cause of very bad PIDs and tube obstruction, tubal blockage, and infertility in females. So
this is what they call the blocked tubes,
yes.
is it?
Most times when we by the time we get to realize that it's gonorrhea, it has already caused havoc, caused damage that is irreversible.
Okay, so it's quite an aggressive infection.
Yeah. In medical terms, we say it's usually the acute form. It's acute. It causes aggressive erosion of most of those epithelial surfaces, and usually things have gone wrong.
Okay. So now that we know the most common examples of these STDs, I guess the next step is how one can tell. Can you tell that this is a discharge of gonorrhea, this is a discharge of maybe chlamydia, and this is a discharge of no candida? What is the difference in those discharges?
Well, it's something we didn't mention. It's called trichomonas.
It's another
it's also some kind of protozoa, which is also another very common STD actually, which can have the same sequelae like others. We have mentioned chlamydia and gonorrhea. Yeah. So to your question, these discharges are actually different.
Discharges?
They are different actually. You can tell. And most cases, we can even treat without actually taking off a sample test, because sometimes they are so obvious that this is this. They will take the line and it's very clear.
How can people know that this is gonorrhea? They should take it so serious and run to the treatment.
The easy thing is to, of course, it's quite difficult for women to know that they have gonorrhea. Sometimes they'll have acute low abdominal pain with a bit of fever, joint pains, but it doesn't necessarily cause a discharge. That's why it is treated as other,
As a UTI.
as UTI or any other problems. But with a man, when a man has gonorrhea, most times they will not survive for more than 3 or 4 days. The problem is they will not mention. They will treat secretly and transmit it to their partners. So the easy thing is to say if a man has gonorrhea or sees signs of passing painful urine or flowing whitish discharge through the privates, you have to treat quickly, treat the partners, and try to make sure you don't transmit it to a generation. Otherwise, it's a very aggressive infection. It's actually one of the most common causes of tubal blockage.
Yeah.
And
So
infertility.
we mentioned that these discharges can be, you can tell. For example, if someone has a greenish yellow discharge, greenish yellow, and foul smelling, it could be, most likely it's trichomonas. It can be frothy, green and yellow, between green and yellow, trichomonas.
Okay.
Yes. We said candida is like cadi, spoiled milk. Yeah.
Spoiled milk.
Yes.
And very itchy.
Yes, exactly.
Then gonorrhea is very painful in men, painful discharge.
Yes.
Or in women, it can cause some sort of symptoms.
So again, gonorrhea can, because it can cause cervicitis, someone can come with a pink, brownish discharge, can be pinkish. Someone may think that's blood. I don't know. So because that's why some people ignore it, because it can come like.
It's not so severe in women.
Yes.
So it can be ignored and
exactly. Or sometimes can be actually colorless and foul smelling.
So basically, what people should do, if they have any sort of, if for example, if it's ladies, any change in the color, volume, or smell, they quickly go to the doctor.
That's the most important. Yes.
So in women, it may be hard to tell if what gonorrhea is from chlamydia. In men, it's almost straightforward. Pain with a discharge equals gonorrhea.
The other thing that we should not forget and not go and mention is the issue of blooded discharges. They are discharges which are not spontaneous. They are sometimes discharges which are provoked by sexual intercourse. You have a brownish, bloody, or blackish discharge. Usually these discharges signify bleeding from somewhere. And then any discharge in a woman above 45 or in a woman in menopause should be taken much more seriously, because most times these discharges signify cancer of the cervix, of the vagina, of the uterus. Okay. So discharges above 45 or discharges in a menopausal woman, a woman who stopped menstruating, should be taken seriously, because they are not usually innocent.
All right. So more about these discharges and STDs coming right after the break. We'll be right back shortly. But if you have any questions or comments regarding discharges or genital ulcers, wounds, how you can tell these two apart, you can just send them on our social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter. I'll be so happy to respond to each of your queries. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You are watching the Doc Talk Show. You are watching the Doc Talk Show.
Some of the most common STDs in our communities include syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia. And these infections, what is underlying them, what the similarity is between them, is the fact that they are sexually transmitted. So obviously, having multiple sexual partners might increase the risk of getting these infections. However, we want to understand what would happen if, for example, you get an STD and you do nothing about it. Does it cause any complications in the long run? So maybe Dr. Chigundu, should people take these STDs quite seriously, especially in the ladies who the infection may not be as, let's say, as aggressive as in the men, may not cause the pain? What would happen if it's left untreated?
Yeah, certainly STDs should be taken seriously, because most of the organisms that cause STDs, apart from Candida Candida is quite, Candida is not an STD, but the reason I keep talking about Candida is because the public out there fears Candida more than anything else.
They fear Candida more.
Yes, it's not an STD, it's actually a little innocent, apart from causing a bit of discomfort and itching, but it is not as bad as these others. Yes, we should take STD seriously. In men, most of the STDs we've talked about would cause erosion of the genital tract, especially of the urethra, that tube that passes urine. And if they keep getting recurrent infections and healing with scars, they get what you call strictures.
Yeah, like,
strictures are, the scars accumulate and they will close off the urinary tract. So most of those men will come back late after time when they can't actually pass out urine.
Or they pass out with difficulty.
Difficult or painful.
It's like there's an obstruction to passing urine.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Again, in men, most of these infections will harbor into those organs that form semen, like the prostate and the seminal vesicles. They get comfort in those organs, and they can actually act as reservoirs, so that the disease becomes chronic. They're actually more like transmitters. Okay. Yes, so that is a big problem. It is very difficult to eradicate gonorrhea, for example, from the prostate, or even those glands called the seminal vesicles that form semen.
And these are in men.
Yes, and
so
these
the
are in
men
men.
would be like reservoirs of some
Exactly.
kind, passing the infection on.
Yes, and the infection can go deep down into the tubes that bring sperms from the testes, call it the vas deferens, and cause obstruction there. And these men will present with infertility after some time.
Most of these effects are replicated
in
women, and basically women are, apart from getting these discharges, which are a very like they inconvenience their day-to-day life, sexual life. Yes. The other big thing is these infections, when they ascend, when they go up the tract, they go on eroding, they go on infecting these organs. So from the uterus, you can get scars with a condition we call synechia. You can get scars, and then the uterus closes off. But that is not as common as in the tubes. Our biggest worry is when these infections ascend. They can cause blockage.
The blocked tubes.
In the tubes. Okay. Yes, actually, most women will present with pain because of these scars in the abdomen, and of course failure to conceive. And sometimes these infections are even contained, so the tube swells. Sometimes it swells with water. You just see water. It's called hydrosalpinx, or it swells with pus.
Is this the same as what sometimes in ultrasound women find things they call cysts? Are they the same? Is it the STDs which cause cysts?
Well, it's kind of different.
They're a bit different.
Yeah, they're different because the ovary is kind of not very.
Those are in the ovaries.
Yes, it's
But these are mainly
although
tubes.
they can also affect the ovaries,
They
actually.
can reach the ovaries.
Yes, these infections can reach the ovaries. Yes, so women may present with, apart from pain, they can have fevers, and this pain can be chronic, fevers and failure to conceive, or nausea and vomiting.
So
because the
basically
infections can be overwhelming.
Very severe infections.
Exactly, and they cause nausea. And actually, these infections can go as high as up to the liver.
Okay,
they can affect, yes.
Spread now into the body.
Exactly.
Okay, so basically STDs are quite an aggressive infection.
The truth is you'll be lucky. You'll be lucky if you catch the infection at that stage.
When it is still
early. But the truth is most women we encounter in our practice have now got what we call PID. There is a thing in town called PID. Every sonographer, every scan that comes, you see PID, just because they've seen
but
some.
But is that actually true? Do they actually see PID?
No. I think that's why I said that it's the thing of the sonographers
yes,
in town.
People overdiagnosing it.
Yes. The actual thing about PID is that someone once had the infection. It created havoc, it got cured, Maybe they used antibiotics quite late. The infection got cured, but the infection left scars. The infection leaves scars, which will trap the organs in the pelvis. You find the tubes caught up in the scars, the uterus caught up in the scars, and these
intestines also.
And these continue to cause chronic pelvic pain. So most of these women keep going to the gynecologist with chronic pelvic pain. People keep giving them antibiotics which are not useful. Yet the actual problem is
scars.
Yes, so we need to diagnose chronic pelvic pain or PID and treat it appropriately than giving women antibiotics after antibiotics. Then you cause more problems, vaginal discharges. So this is the whole sequelae of these.
Of an untreated STD.
Yes.
So what's now one of the most important questions as we conclude this discussion. Are these infections treatable and can they be prevented?
Yes. Well said.
The STDs we're talking about, are all of them treatable? Or some are basically, once you have it, that's it?
So most of these infections can be easily treatable. But the unfortunate bit is most of our patients come late. They come late. Sometimes they see the signs and symptoms, but they try herbalists, they try herbs, they try
eating garlic.
Exactly, they try eating garlic. Some people steam.
And inserting garlic in the private parts.
Exactly.
Does that work, by the way?
No, of course not.
No, of course not.
They don't,
These people just try remedies they have heard about, but there's no science.
But they're just delaying the infection.
So most of them, if caught early, they can be treated. But well said, these infections, we have to first diagnose them. And for example, pelvic inflammatory disease, or genital infections, we easily take off a swab, high vaginal swab, take to the lab, do culture and sensitivity. Then the results come back and they're clear. These organisms isolated, drug that treats the.
So those are the lab.
Exactly.
But basically, they can be treated. So what you're saying is, anyone who has an STD, any sort of abnormal discharge or abnormal wounds, go to the doctor ASAP.
Exactly.
All right. And as we conclude now, then the prevention, Dr. Chigundu, what can we do to prevent or protect ourselves from these STDs?
Being sexually transmitted, the first thing is to avoid acquiring the infections through sexual intercourse. So you either stick with one partner, or if you can't, then you have to use barrier methods like condoms. But essentially, most of the STDs are carried sexually. And then there are those STDs that men don't seem to fear or don't know about, especially the human papillomavirus, the one that causes cancer of the cervix and cancer of the vagina. It is actually almost now number one. Yes, cancer of the vagina sometimes, rather cancer of the cervix, sometimes I joke that it's an STD.
Could it be an STD?
In a way,
it's a disease because it's caused by something else that's sexually transmitted.
Actually, more than 99% of women who have cancer of the cervix acquired it through a virus called human papillomavirus.
Okay. So that makes it almost an STD.
And in men, it can cause cancer of the penis or cancer of
later on.
the throat or
exactly.
Yes, the unfortunate bit is that men transmit it more to the women and do rarely get those complications, but they can if it's not eradicated. That's why things like circumcision are very important. Maybe lastly, telling women that every time you have a vaginal discharge, please visit a gynecologist, because most of these vaginal discharges are as simple as putting a speculum, examining properly, seeing the nature of discharge and treating it, other than going to the pharmacy to buy antibiotics.
So
antibiotics are not friendly to a woman.
They will increase
in any
the
way.
candida.
They are not friendly to the vaginal tract.
All right.
Yes.
Untreated STDs equals complications such as infertility. So you have it, you've heard it from our experts in studio. Thank you once again for taking us to this discussion. We'll see you next time on the Doc Talk Show. Please send in your comments, your questions on our social media handles on Facebook, on Twitter. We want to answer each and every question you have regarding STDs or regarding candida or any of the infections you've had on the discussion. We'll see you next time on the Doc Talk Show. Goodbye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Program My School, a great students program and your answer to education perspective, giving you reason as to why you should pay school fees for a child's education with items like students' talents, thoughts, adventures and skills showcased, leadership skills and all other activities plus concerns in various schools in your locations. Remember that our children are our future generation. Don't miss Program My School.
I've seen a number of community members out there that have formed themselves into groups and have identified enterprises, agricultural enterprises, rice and all that, and they've actually been successfully cultivating them. They've gone ahead, the project has gone ahead and also introduced small-scale industries like the rice huller, the grinding mills and all that that are managed by the groups. All these are successes.
Welcome to this edition of A Meal in 5 with Chef Titus here at Lake Victoria Hotel, Granada. I'm going to take you through beet and mango salad. And these are the the recipes or the ingredients that we need to use to make this salad of ours. This is our mango, only one piece of mango. This is our beetroot. This is a carrot. This is cucumber. Yeah, we are going to start with the mango. We are going to peel the mango. And the reason as why we peel the mango is we are trying to avoid the cover, the hard cover of the mango and all the other vegetables from our food. So we want to have the soft part of the food. Okay, this is how we are going to peel our mango. And with the mango, we are going to make slices from our cheese slicer. Just 2 millimeter inch of the slices. We are going to slice. The same applies with our carrot. We are going to slice our carrot also. We are also going to slice the cucumber. We are going to slice our cheese. We want to make slices from our beetroot. So we are going to arrange our sliced vegetables like here. Our cucumber. We are also going to arrange our cucumber here like this, like this, like this. Then we are going to garnish our plate like this. So that's our garnish of our salad today. Then we are going to use this cutter to bring in the shape into our salad. We are going to use this to cut the shape, the exact shape that we need, like this. So we put in the center. Remember our mango? Then we cut our cucumber also in the center. Then we come with our carrots. Carrot gives us also another layer of the salad. Then we are going to finish it with the tomato. We have our cheese here, beet and mango salad. So we are going to garnish with the dania on top and dress it with the olive oil. This is the Virgin Italia olive oil. You can also make this thing at home. If you don't have a cheese slicer, you can use a chopping board here with a knife, and you slice like I have sliced the tomatoes, and then you make the shapes that you would like to use. Here is our beet and mango salad.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome to Super Soul Sisters. My name is Jamila Oluka and you're watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. It's a very beautiful day today and I'm so excited because it's the month of women. When we talk about women, what comes to my mind is like you're building a nation because women define society, women define a nation. We are the frontiers of what they call community upbringing of children and also making sure that the home is nurtured well and everything moves smoothly. If you want to know the truth, try to compare a home which has a wife or a woman and a home without a wife. Actually, in the Bible and in the Quran, they say that a home becomes a home when a woman is in the home. And then, of course, the blessings of children. And that's why today in this particular program, we are going to talk about women issues as usual, but also giving more credit to the month of women. We celebrate everyone. Actually, every woman who is out there, I want to wish you a happy month. I also want to bring to your attention that we are auditioning for yet another second episode of the most inspiring story here on Super Soul Sisters, which is supposed to run on 27th and 28th of March, this very month. So if you have a story that you think is worthy sharing, a story that will impact empathy, a story that has a story in it that you think should be heard, and you know that it is realistic, it is a very good story, please come for audition on the 27th and the 28th here on UBC premises. We shall be waiting for you. And the beauty about this time around, we don't want to leave the boy child behind. So we are requesting also the boy child, if you have a good story, please come for auditions. And you know, these stories of ours, those who win actually get some bursaries. So that is the best we can give you as Super Soul Sisters, because we want to make sure that the education of the girls moves forward. And then also on the other hand, I've been talking about these 20K for transformation, and I believe that even if you contribute very little as 20,000 minimum, you can change the life of a girl child. So I want to interest you to contribute. We shall be putting the pay codes just running on the screen so that you pay directly. This program is fronted by FAWE Uganda, and FAWE is one of those organizations that makes sure that girls are not left behind. Now today we have one of our senior teachers in this country. She has walked the talk of teaching children, of nurturing children, and you know, this is one of the professions that people overlook. But to me, as Jamila, I believe that if you've not gone through the hands of a teacher, you cannot be a normal person. Because to date, there are some teachers that taught me, and I still remember them. Because a teacher is one person that takes you through most of your life. Imagine you're at home, children at home for maybe a month or 3 weeks holiday, but the 3 months they go back to school, and mostly like about 9 months of our time, children are in school rather than at home. So teachers really play a very big role in shaping us, and especially women. So with that said, I want to welcome one of our senior teachers from Kololo SS. She is one of those ladies that I believe you need to hear her story. So you're most welcome.
Thank you, madam.
Senior teacher, when I talk about senior teachers, I mean those teachers who went through TTC, who went through training, who came as student teachers. For those of you who have been in high school, you understand what I'm talking about. We would always look forward to when student teachers are coming to teach us, because they would come with a lot of vibe. So these are some of the teachers that we are seeing here today. So Madam Akol, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Jamila.
You can take us through. So Madam Akol, Akol is a name that comes from different places.
Yes, please.
I know that where I come from, we have Akol.
Yes.
And it's shared with both men and female.
Yes.
And then also in Ilango, there is a call.
Yes.
I think those are the places which have a call. Then even if you go to Kenya, the Turkana also have a call.
They do.
And then in Sudan, we have the Songa, which also are in the Teker group.
Yes.
They also have a call.
Yes.
So I want to know, is a call the name you were given birth to, or a call is the name you got after?
A call is a name that I attained by birth, and I am a proud Muteso from Soroti, so I am a typical Muteso.
Original?
Original, 311, I can say that.
So if I told you now that Emuria Kolia?
Koliai. We say Koliai.
Koliai.
Yeah, meaning that the things that we do must continue. There must be continuity. That's the meaning
generations
of
it.
Generations
should
should
continue.
continue.
No, I'm glad.
Yes,
you know, it is, I think, my first time to host a Muteso in the show. And it's
honored.
so interesting.
Yes.
So now, Madam Akol,
yes, please.
You said you are from Soroti.
Yes.
Could you walk us through, like, where you were born, which schools you went to in your primary, and maybe nursery, all those?
Incidentally, I did not attend nursery. My nursery was in a home school.
Yes.
Where we learned to cook, you know, those days.
Yes.
Because I want to first begin by saying I'm now 23, I'm going to 24 years of being a teacher.
Wow.
So you can now calculate my years back. But my school, I never attended what we call nursery, no. But I'm so proud that out of the stage where I would have gone for nursery, I learned how to cook. I learned how to take care of the young ones. That was perfect. So my first school was Madra Girls. Madra Girls, we had Madra Girls for the girls, and then Madra Boys for the boys, and then Madra Girls for Madra Boys, the blind school.
Yes.
Yes, we would have the same bar hall. Yes, so I was there from P1 to P4. But that's the time when there was a lot of insurgency. And my brother was working in Makerere, that is faculty of veterinary medicine. So he said, this girl cannot be spent. So he brought me. So my P5, I started from Makerere Primary. That is Kapipa, there's yellow this side, of course. Then Makerere Primary the other side. So we used to climb the hill. Yeah. So from there, I came to Ahmadiyya. Ahmadiyya Muslim High School is just around
Wandegia.
Yes, around Wandegia. It's a Muslim school, but I wasn't a Muslim. But it was a nice school. It was a simple school. That's where my brother could afford. Yes, and that's where I finished my O-level from. So I switched on. I went back again to Bugwere High School.
Wow.
Bugwere High School, Budaka, that is Mbale, around Mbale.
Yes. I know Budaka.
That's where I had spent my A-level from. And from there, you know, it's like now touring Uganda. I went to Western, Mubende. I call it Central Western, somehow
that
there.
Teachers training school.
Yes. So that is the training school where I was first trained as a teacher. So I got my diploma from there, and I completed in 2001.
Wow.
Yes. So it is where I started my life from. And I was very happy that in my second year, I started teaching, and I was sourced by my lecturer to through a connection of a teacher, that is Saint Charles Luanga, that is Madam Grace Luanga. She was proud of me and took me up, and I started making money during my second year as I was studying, and I didn't disappoint. So that's
you are one of the lucky few.
Yes.
I know Mubende. I did my internship in Mubende TTC when I was at university. So at least I have some, you know, we went there. Anyway, now coming back, what as a girl child, because we are celebrating the month of women, before you became a teacher, how did you feel changing schools? Because I know coming from Madera, Madera is a bit of, there's a lot of love around boarding schools. Those nuns can give you this nice feeling and then make you really feel good. And then you come to Makerere where it's so busy. Like, there are so many things happening at the same time. And then you go to a Muslim school, then from a Muslim school, you go back to Budaka. I'm just wondering, could you share with us some of your experiences of changing schools?
Oh, I felt like it was an adventure to me on one side. You know, when somebody tells you you're going to Kampala, everybody was so like a heroine treated. You mean you're going to Kampala? It's like somebody seeing a Muzungu coming and wanting even to touch. So even them, they were saying, you're going to Kampala, you're very lucky. Yes. So for me, I was happy because I was being removed. I would see typically people being killed, and I never wanted to die early. So to me, it was an advantage. So when I came to Kampala, I was actually the happiest. So when I came to school, of course, the environments were different. One, I didn't know Luganda. I didn't know. So, but I was speaking English. That's the beauty of it. So everybody would like come, associating with somebody who speaks what? English. So the challenge which I could have found from that other, I remember that primary life of this side was not what I experienced from Madera girls. I'm sorry to say this, but there was a lot of caning for you to understand. Yes, I remember very well. I think I had gotten 69, 68. It was a science subject. But, I thought they would forgive me. And they were canes. And to me, I had never gotten, by the way, so much caning when I was growing. So it a lot of disturbed me. I said, now, how am I going to live with this life? If I don't perform, I think I'm going to be caned. So by the way, it compelled me to work hard. It made me to get groups. Constructive groups. Discussion groups. Yes, and I improved. In the course of it, I had to improve because it was just a trigger which was used then, though it is not okay.
Corporal punishment has been
corporal punishment, But I think that was the way to go then, but I think it helped me somehow. So changing from again going to Budaka, coming this side, I've told you it was like an adventure. I learned to live with different people because whenever you move, you are associating with different cultures, the way they do their things, the way they associate. So you have to always try to adjust. And I'm so happy that I adjusted easily. Yes. So I did not find so much a challenge with that bit of coping up with others because I think my parents brought me through that life. You need always to survive. Because I want to take you back, as I was growing, I never took so much time to grow with my mother. My aunties would take me, I was a nice girl. Let her come, let Rachel come. Let Rachel come to my place. So I was struggled for. And even when I came to Kampala, I was at my sister's place. She was a teacher at Madra Girls. So that's what I can say like.
Wow.
Yes.
You are quite lucky about that. Yes. So, also growing up as a girl,
yes,
because I know that times have changed a little bit.
Yes.
When you compare, then there was kind of communal upbringing of children.
Yes.
Some of us were not lucky. We had tough parents who said, all my children have to be at home, not going to auntie, not going to what.
Yes.
So, but during that time, many people had to go, like holidays, you come when you're planning, where are you going to go? And the aunties be booking you, the uncles book you for holidays. But now, as a teacher, if you look at that time of upbringing children, which was a bit communal, and comparing to now, what impact does it have to you people who teach children at school?
Yes, like you've mentioned it pretty well, that when you were growing up, that communal bit of it, because I remember there are very many children that we lived with, and that bond is still there. We keep on tracking ourselves up to today. And we would even spend a night, it was just a mere telling the mother, Mommy, I'm not going to be there. Where are you? I'm at Uncle's place with those of so and so. And you'd spend your night peacefully, or even days, and the mother was at peace, knowing that you're what? You are in safe hands. But the story has changed, that even the very parents do not want to know what is happening with the neighbor's child.
Yeah.
And the neighbor's child may not also be okay with maybe any other neighbor's child. And yet this is what is actually maybe killing some of our communities. Because if you do not have that interpersonal relationship right from wherever we are, it impacts. So whatever we are seeing in the school setting, comes right from home. If you see that this child is not sharing, this child is very aggressive, this child is an introvert, it comes right from what? Because that's the environment that has been created for them. So for us, we battle out, we don't give up. Because we are mothers, second mothers, I can say to them. Because I would even say first mothers, because we spend a lot of time with these children. So it is us now who are taking on the role to know now the child, to discover what the child is at home by drawing them closer, finding out from them what is the challenge here. How can we do this? And you guess what? The ones who have come out to share, they really show you that there's a lot that they're undergoing. I can't say inner battles. And when they say out, few of them come out. They share with friends. And sometimes when they share with the friends, they are laughed at. They become a topic, said that. So they even also fear now to say out some of the challenges that they are facing, right? So they fear to come out because they fear to be humiliated. But the ones who are courageous, and this is what we are doing through our counseling sessions. We have counseling sessions. We want to empower the learners with that ability to come out and speak out. And guess, the head teacher's office is always open. The administration office, the senior man, the class teachers, all those departments are active in our school, and the learners are being helped. We have over 6,000 learners. And if you don't make a deliberate effort, the school can be held. But if you go to our school today, you may find out that you may fail to know whether the students are there. Why? The reason that the atmosphere has been organized. An organized system comes up with organized what? Students. And that is it. So we don't mind now that the home picture is like this. So we also handle them like the home picture. We try to bring them back to the normal way and say, guess here. Yes, the parent is tough, but you need him. So we try a lot. We engage and we do a lot of counseling. Right from the subject teacher, as you go prepare them, because they have a lot in them. They're struggling. There's a lot in their minds. One, the stage. One, they find the economy, what they're struggling with at home. Children coming, maybe sometimes they don't have enough scholastic materials. Yeah. You are teaching a child, but the child does not have what to use. And you need to teach a learner to understand. You don't have a set, can you do mathematics? No. So you need to, so that's when now you teach. The new curriculum is very good. You bring the collaborative kind of approach and say, you see, in the new curriculum, we encourage what? Collaboration, we encourage sharing. Please share with a friend. And you know, that is something that you're inculcating into this youth, which is not easy, of course, but they try.
That's why I'm looking at you talking, and I'm like, how do you do this? Yes. Because Kolole has quite a big number of children. Yes. It covers most of the children from Bukoto, Chebando, Chisasi, Kamocha. Because when we are going home, like in the evening, yes, you find most of them walking. White, yes. And it's a day school. Yes. So there is a lot of substance abuse, yes, that has been reported in schools. Yes, and yes, recently there was a symposium, yes, held by Dr. Nako for mental health, yes, Butabika, the head of Butabika Hospital. Yes. And the research that has come out, they say that 14 million people suffer from mental health, and most of them are graduates. Yes. People just go mental. Imagine. And these graduates, to me, by the time someone reaches a point of knocking off, like becoming not suitable to live with other people mentally, yes, it means that it has built up. Yeah. So, you people who are in secondary schools, because the things start from secondary schools, how have you managed as your school, as and in your associations as teachers, what mechanisms have you devised to help these children? Because these are children, as I told you, yes, Madam Akon, they come. Some of them live in Kamocha. Probably on their way home, they find people taking marijuana, cannabis, so many other things. And now there is, I think, there is a new drug that they reported again. Ministry of Health said these kids use. It's like chewing gum. Oh yeah, I forget the name, but they chew it, yes, and they be high. And these are people who are coming to school. So yes, how have you handled that at school?
In Kololo, I'm happy we have a system. Every day at the gate, we have a special team checking these learners. Wow. When you come, actually, even it's I cannot say that it's 100%, but we are trying to engage all the possibilities of how we can manage that big population. So teachers on duty are of two categories. We have stream teachers, and then we have the teachers on duty. So this team, this big team, these are like the way you see the soldiers patrolling.
Yes.
So they don't rest. If you don't have a lesson, then you should be moving around to see what is happening. So right from the gate, we pick interest. When we see that you're not moving rightly, we say, please come here. Then, of course, sometimes by sheer luck, you check in the bag, and you may find that there's something not okay. A gadget, can be even a phone.
Wow.
But those are minimal cases. But at least you find that there's something. What you have seen from the observation exactly is actually what you're finding. So that means it is taking us to another project. Let us take pay keen attention to how these learners move. Their movements, the way they look at you, because they have a way how they hold those categories of people who are always wrongdoers. There's a way how their bags are ever here. And they're on run. So for us, we say, okay, that is it. Now if I see you, I say,
and they are children anyway, so they haven't yet learned that.
So you might even learn and say, maybe it's protecting, because some of them can snatch their bags. So there are two categories. You cannot blame, but you just say, come and you see. So, what is here? Why have you come late? But to see that these learners are really safe, we sensitize them. Assemblies, the head teacher, the teachers, we call them even special guests. Somebody comes and addresses on a topic, drugs and what, maybe comes and talks about, key issues. So by the time the students listen to two assemblies, that one who is in that category can easily be helped. So for us, we have even guiding sessions, classes, if it is senior 2, that we take off time from the lessons, because we realize, yes, we can teach. But when we are teaching a learner who is aggressive, who is influenced, who is under the influence of a drug,
they cannot understand.
You go to a learner and he's standing up for you. So what?
How
can you
such
manage?
Cases?
But of course, those are rare ones. But of course, sometimes we get them. We get them from the DC. And and if a child is under the influence of a drug, you can easily know, because the reactions, first of all, show you that the child is what?
Not normal.
It's not normal. And for sure, when you begin investigating and finding out, there is something that they are.
Do you sometimes expel some of these students?
Incidentally, we don't believe in expulsion, because it is our mandate to change such a child. Because when you expel, how many will you expel? You may end up expelling almost, because only God helps you to know that this is the team that is doing. What about the other one who is hidden and is not doing? So for us as the school and the school administration, we said, no, we have to work best to see that this child is put right, and engage the parent and see that we work together closely. So the DC, the disciplinary committee, the members have a full department. They have to call the parent comes. And then did you know this? Sometimes what happens, the parents do not know what happens to their children. They get surprised. Are you sure? Then you say yes.
We do get surprised, because these children hide a lot from us. And now with the gadgets, the phones have made even things worse. They're in so many groups. And sometimes they are ahead of some parents in terms of technology. Madam Akol, I want to interest you that there are parents who have not gone to school that far. You find a parent maybe stopped in senior 4, others have even stopped in P7, but they have managed to maneuver around life and try to give a future for their children. Now, some of them even like if you look at the literacy level of using phones in Uganda, I believe maybe like 70% or 60%. But if you go to up country, very few people know how to maneuver around. Even here in Kampala, give people a phone. People know WhatsApp, but these kids, remember you people teach them ICT in schools now.
That is
now they know softwares which can even lock something. You as a parent, especially if you're not very acquainted with new technology, you can easily miss it out.
It is true.
I have a friend of mine who said one of their neighbors had a child who was actually involved in taking drugs, but they could not know, because the girl was always sleeping at night. She would say that I want to sleep, and she goes and takes drugs, and they only just saw that the kid was emaciating, starting to lose weight, losing appetite, eating. And when they dug information, they found that she was in a group of kids WhatsApp, where they could sell those drugs of theirs of chewing and what. And now, if you're a parent, you see your kid in the morning is okay, but at night, the kid says he's sleeping, but the sleep is actually influenced by a drug. So most of those things actually affect children. And we parents do not know, as you've said. But I want to, again, bring you to ask you something in related to that. Now, as you, that's a day school.
It is a day school.
You're managing.
Yes.
I haven't studied in a day school all my life, so I don't know the experience, but I can just imagine having a child, you're only responsible for that child when they're at school.
Yes.
Once they leave the gate, you are not responsible. You can only do follow-ups.
Yes.
Now, for the girl child, I want us to talk about the girl child, because this is a month of women.
Yes.
We are celebrating women.
Yes, please. Yeah, a girl child, personally, I'm so passionate when it comes to a girl child, because I believe that a girl child is at the center of it all. If we do not nurture a girl child, then our future is what? Is no more. So this girl child who is at the center is vulnerable. And in most cases, you know, even the Bible, who was tempted, it was Eve. She was a weak, she's a weak vessel. So even our girls are vulnerable for sure. But regarding the reproductive health, these learners, we try as much as possible to be engaging these learners into knowing themselves first. When a child knows where where she is coming from actually, then she'll be able to come and tell you, share a challenge. Do you know what? We cannot even afford a meal. Now, if a girl child tells you we cannot even afford a meal at home, can she afford a pad? Those are the special cases that we are handling. In fact, in our sick bay, the senior woman's office and some administrators' offices, we cater for that. Because we know at all times, these girls will come up, or either the friends will come and say, so-and-so has a challenge. So we also try to look into these challenges. These challenges that the learners tell us, the girls share with us, also give us ways of how to manage. You cannot teach a learner who is mentally affected by a substance.
To wear.
Yes, yes, a person, by the way, who has even no pad to wear. And you expect a learner to be in class? No. And if you do not listen to such a learner and she opens up, you will end up saying the learner is not obedient to you. So it takes us back to getting deep into these people's hearts, own them, draw them closer. Though it is not easy, some of them may deceive you. When they see also that you're on a learning ground, they will also say, now let me save this money for this, since there's a safe learning ground here.
Now the problem, kids have been corrupted.
They have been corrupted, by the way. The way they think, they are only after, there's the selfishness, I call them selfishness has come in. It's no longer for us, but it is now mine, me.
Thank you very much for watching Super Soul Sisters. We'll be going for a break and we shall be right back. Welcome back to Super Soul Sisters. My name is Jamila Luke and you're still watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. Before we went for a break, we had talked about how the challenges children face in schools that teachers have to handle. But before we delve into that, I want to remind you about the 20K transformation for the girl child. Please remember to contribute as little as 20,000. So any amount above that you can contribute and save a child. And Fawe Uganda is the one in charge of that. Fawe is one of those organizations that make sure that girl child is not left behind and children go to school. But also I want to remind you about the Most Inspiring Story auditions, which is going to be running this very month, 27th to 28th. Please don't say that we didn't tell you. If you have forgotten, the auditions do not ask for a lot. You just have to come with your story and make sure that your story is that story that will make me cry, probably make me happy, make us, people like feel you. When I talk about crying, I'm not talking about sad stories. There are tears of joy, there are tears of sadness, there are so many things that come. A story should be able to evoke emotions, and those are some of the stories we want to hear. Make sure that you pitched your story to as short as maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and that story has to be realistic, don't forge. Come with a real story, because these stories, you know that truth always sets you free, so these stories will help you get a bursary if you happen to win. But also I want to remind you that we are not leaving the boy child behind. So the boys are also, if the boys are interested, please come and audition. We shall be here at UBC, and all the team will be here, and we'll make sure that we get your story the way it is, and it will be as genuine and open and as transparent as we are. So Madam Akol, before we go in deep to now strip it off, like some of those things, I want first you to take her through, from a teacher's perspective, take her through what are the roles we parents are supposed to be performing, and what are your roles when it comes to education?
Thank you so much. I believe a parent, number one, you see, if you look at, I bring the bit of being a fisherman. I want that moment when the parents are going to teach their children to fish, not fishing for them, right? But on the other hand, as the parents are teaching these learners to fish for themselves, they should not totally surrender. Because in the moment they surrender, those are problems that we are seeing, that some of the parents have decided to surrender, and are the ones who are even fronting these learners. If you ask, if a girl who is a vulnerable girl comes and asks, and the mother says, don't you know what to do? What do you expect the girl now to think about? That means the child, you have changed the mindset of the child to think from a certain angle, which was okay, to looking into ways of getting a solution. So that's why I'm saying that the parent, number one, be role models to your children. Most cases, the children, the way they behave, they get it from home. The moment a child is aggressive and is ever fighting, when you get back home, the parents are also fighting, right? If there's a vulgar language, then the language that the child is using in the class and doesn't fear the other learners is also what the parents are using at home. So being a role model is key when it comes to bringing up these learners, these children of ours. Be at the center. Morally upright child. When you look at some children who are really brought up well, you really see that even when the parents come for visitation, they depict. But again, when you see, even with the response on phone, when you're calling a parent to remind the parent of the responsibility, the response alone shows you that if the parent can talk to me like this, then what about now the child? So secondly, we also look at basic materials. It is your responsibility as a parent. And maybe that's why we hear some of these stories of children just doing funny things because they're frustrated. You know that you can frustrate your own child by not listening, number one, to the child. Some of the parents have not listened to these children. Take off time and listen. You're always, yes, your business is your business. But when you become too busy and you don't give your children time, you're going to lose out. Because when you listen, you'll get challenges from these children. Have a moment of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 on a round table. It can even be during the supper time. And know them, because some of these parents do not know their children. That's why, Jamila, I told you that a parent, you tell the parent, please come over school, come to school, there's this issue. And the parent is surprised because, one, the child has not maybe opened up to what? To the parent. So they are like, they are parallel, they are not at par. Each other. Yes. Then also what we can also do, guidance and counseling. By the way, I should even speak, because whatever the parent is doing, the teacher is also doing. When I say guidance and counseling, it must be from school and also from what? From home. These two people should do the same thing. By the way, we should be on the same page. We do guide learners from school. But if the parents are not guiding the children as is supposed, then with the guidance that the children get at school may end at the gate. As they're getting out of the gate, they're different people. So guidance should continue. Both parties should do. Yes. Then also we can also take interest on the friends. Do you know that the friends have influenced?
So much.
These groups that you see, group gang, I mean, they call them, their names that they give. And if you don't pick interest in those groups.
Oh, God.
Then,
I'm just laughing because there are so many things they have talked about, these WhatsApp groups, how they say, oh, no squad, no what.
I'm telling you, their names. And those names have codings.
Oh.
There's something that they're passing through those codes. For you, think that, it is what? This team, this kind of cocoon. But inside it, there's something that is keeping them together. Wow. Like you can say discussion group. These ones are academicians, they want to excel. So even these ones, they want to promote their what? Their their agendas. Maybe team dragging. Then maybe team coupling. They're the ones who are moving. So for you are happy. I said the children are communicating. They are becoming husbands and wives.
In front of your eyes.
In front of your eyes, moreover. The teacher, you don't know what is happening. If God helps you, you don't define a letter and say, now what is in this letter? Then you see the good words. Of course, for them, they say that is love. But for us, we call them feelings. You try to discourage and say, you girl, this boy has loved very many. Today, you see, he saw the one of eyes, he saw the one of the hips, and you know, those are feelings, not love. The nyash. So we need the boy, the time the boy goes home, he has loved 5. Then I ask them, is that love or feelings? They say, madam, it is feelings. Because if it is true love, you only love one person. And at their age, are they supposed to even be in a relationship? No. So I tell them those are feelings, and it is normal for us to have feelings. When you admire a boy, you admire a girl. It is admire and end there. Because we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. And girls are flowers. If you admire them, that's not a problem. But admire, but don't touch. Yes. Have that mind. God gave us ability. I tell them, why you are different from this cock and the hen, that you have a mind, you have a decision-making ability to say, no, this is wrong. But for a cock and a hen, it can go back to its chick and again get what? Maybe. Yes. So we should actually do a lot of guidance and counseling and knowing our learners and giving them time. Also, tell the parents, take keen interest on what the children are watching. You've given them the gadgets. There are parents who are, I can't call them luxurious. They are so loving. They have too much love. And the more they have loved their children, the more they have caused harm to their children.
Maybe it's not only love. I think when you talk about love, it may not even depict the truth.
I'm putting it in quotes.
The issue of too busy for the child.
Yes.
They say, I give her the phone.
Give the phone. Now, when you give the phone to your child without regulating, and also giving a remote to a child without telling the child what to. Parental guidance, usually when I watch some films, when we watch, they say, yes, parental guidance. Now, you've not guided the learner. You've given a phone. You've not regulated. You've given a remote. The child has gotten friends. You're not regulating the friends. You don't know who is a friend to me, and what is the friend doing. And some parents have taken an extra mile to even reach the families of where their children have friends from. Why? They want to know what goes on there.
In that family?
Yes, in that family. If it is not okay, then the parent will come and say, no, Grace, this is not a good friend. Can you try? But of course, you don't have to impose. Slowly by slowly process. You give some of the dangers, slowly by slowly. Otherwise, if you do it again abruptly, these are the people who have committed suicide.
From a teacher's perspective, I want you to help us understand, and being a counselor, what are some of these challenges we should look into as parents to see that such cases do not recur? Because right now, trust me, there are children out there who are maybe conceptualizing to thinking of suicide, because now the economy has changed. Even getting a school is hard. People are joining senior 5. You check the fees, they're exorbitant, as in too high. You find fees around 3 million plus. And maybe a parent has 2 children, others have just reported to school. And these kids see the things. Let me tell you the funny thing about children now, because we've been confined in one place, children don't move like before. So parents are there with children and they see the struggles that parents go through. And then there's changing a school because a child, maybe you failed to pay school fees from here and you have to change the child. And all these changes, they affect children. And actually when you look at the graphics of children who are committing suicide, most of them it has to deal with these small things, changing a school. The other who committed suicide in Masaka in PG, who said that she was relieving her mother of the problems she was facing because her father was not supporting the mother, and the mother had gone through a lot, so she wanted to die so that she saves the mother. So all these things, it is related to parents and mothers and changes. So maybe you can help us today, since we have opportunity in Women's Day, to throw a light on these issues, because majority of them are actually girls who commit suicide.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jamila. You see, the setting, environment is key when we are bringing up children. And sometimes you may not blame the parents 100%, because number one, these children of this generation, 21st century learners, are hypers. They want to discover a lot that you even don't know, and a lot goes around them. But the fears of the parents should not make their children to be children who are free to do what they want. There should be a system in the home, environment in the home, where there is a dialogue within them, that when they are communicating, someone can easily express what is hurting him, what he or she is happy with, and then out of that engagement, maybe you are able to find out what is troubling this particular child. Hiding information from these children has also created. If you, maybe, let me give an example. If you've been having a job and you've been having like a well-paid job, get it, and things have changed, and the lifestyle that the child had has also changed. Changed. Now, if you just come and maybe bring out yourself with that picture that you are into the family, frustration of the other job maybe which you've lost, into the family, you're going to have the same thing affecting your wife and even your children, because you've not been able to say out. Some men hide. They keep on hiding. They can even borrow, right? Even some, maybe even some women, right? They will borrow to maintain the status quo, that things are still normal. And by doing that, more stress is coming. You have the loans. Me, what I'm actually asking, let people accept to live with the life that they are in. And then try to bring the family together to adjust to what they have. You cannot say that I don't have this. Like you have 1,000, you want to buy a kilo of meat. 1,000 buying a kilo. From this you look at mukene, because it is the immediate thing that you can buy and survive. You know, some mothers also are a problem sometimes. The pressure that maybe they put on the father, the head of the family, can also impact. So now that is already a conflict between the parents and the children. Now the children will look at the mother as the father as not not doing the right thing, and the mother also actually is looking at the bit of keeping the standards of the children, avoiding humiliation. Let people talk about it and say this the mwagwamu, that moment of where they say is family yagwamu, but it is just for a moment. As you set up yourselves, accept the situation where you are right now. Tell that child, sit down. Is it okay? See the reaction from the child and do otherwise. Go back to the drawing board and say, but the way we see, talk to him another time. But talking once, and you say, if your father say, I have said my word, you're going from this school to this school. I am not giving you this because, no, take time. Because it's like a car. There's a clash. You keep on what? Accelerating, you do what? In that, you will be knowing and also helping them to come to what? To adjust. Let the families come together. It is, yes, the economy is, everybody's crying economy. We can depict this by maybe seeing what happens in the communities where we are. That things are actually not okay. But should we now remain and say things are not okay and then leave things to go, offside? No, we have to get onto the drawing board to see what are those measures. How can we? Dialogues should be together and see the changes. How can we get there, right? How can we solve this problem together? When you, because the new curriculum teaches generic skills, the values. The generic skills, problem solving is one of it. The learners, the children should be having ways of solving problems. If a girl does not have a pad, should she go to a boda man?
No.
Yes? Should she now tell her problem to a boda man who is already there, placed to maybe help, or maybe has even been admiring? No. So when you disclose of some of these things, open engagement, open dialogue, that's solve the things. My message out there to first the parents. The parents, you are the owners of these children. When the teachers get them, they're helping you, just taking a part. They're just doing something small for you to help you what? But solely your role, the role of these children when they are in our hands is yours. Yes, we stay with them for a very good time, many months, but how we wish that when we are trying to help you from school, be supportive. When the teachers, we get a message from school that please, the child is like this, come up and support. Do not again come to school and cause a war zone and say it can't be. Accept it, and then we help the child, we help the children together. So as parents, please, I mentioned these things. Number one, as you are with your children, be a friend to your child. When you are a friend to your child, the child will disclose anything to you. And then have time for them. Provide for them. Then also, I forgot to tell you, a prayerful home is always a winning home. Some of us have thrown prayers, and we have substituted prayers with watching films, with the TikTok. Everybody, the parent is on phone, the child is also on the phone, the maid is on the phone. Including now, who is babies. There? Even the babies are on tabs. This is how do you call this? Yes. Tabs, yes. Yes, they are on their tabs. So, but we should know, I think we should remind ourselves of that moment where we have to say, like there's a saying that drop something and what, and then read. Also us, let's drop our phones and have time for our children. Then to the teachers. The teachers, I know you have a lot. You really get into a rough time to understand over how many learners. Imagine in a class, if you have 80 learners in a class, they are all yours. They are all what? Yours. So please, teachers, have time for these learners. Let them be your friends. For the children, the parents, the children? Yes. And for the children, please, just know that you are still children and you need people who can help you to come up to that person that you want. You've not yet grown. You need an advice from a teacher. You need from the parent. You need from any community, any stakeholder. So humble down. And if you face any challenge, a solution is not getting rid of yourself. There are other ways of getting into a solution because God gave us that ability that when you pray, you are answered. So do not resort to other bad ways, but get into ways, tell a friend, tell a teacher, tell a mother. And a problem once said is a problem what? Shared is a problem solved. When you share, it's solved.
Thank you so very much, Madam Makol. Those are very, very insightful messages you've shared with us. And I want to thank all the viewers who have been with us today. We really appreciate your time. I want to remind you that our programs run on UBC TV. every Wednesday 9 p.m. and then a repeat on Friday 11 a.m. And also you can get us on YouTube still, Super Soul Sisters, and you'll get to watch all our programs here. I want to thank again Madam Akol for coming for this program, and I want to thank everyone, the team behind Super Soul Sisters, UBC TV, and also to remind you that auditions are on 27th and 28th. Please come to UBC and let us hear your story. With that information, I want to thank you again. My name is Jamila Luka. Do have a good time. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
How did you end up in my life? How did you cast that spell? Tell me who sent you. Is it heaven or is it hell? I built a wall so high, a wall that you defied. But this can't be. Ooh, I never fall this deep. No, no, you're not real. You're a ghost. This can't be. You're not real. You're a ghost. It's an illusion. Listen, how did you end up in my life? How did you end up in my bed? Hey, how did you get me some real love? No, cause without you I feel dead. Whoa, I built a wall so high, a wall that you divide, but this can't be. Ooh, I never fall this deep. No, no, no. You're not real. You're a ghost. This can't be. You're not real. You're a ghost. It's an illusion.
It's like I only see you when my eyes go closed. Got me wondering how you got so close. Till I'm on fire for you, holy smokes. To quit you, I'ma need the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Whoa, how you're obsessed with me, you're so excessive. Trying to own me, you're so possessive. It's so depressing, on subire. Cause you know what you did here, where one you'll get it. Creeping in through the mist, crawling through the dark. Reaching out from my heart, persistent in your call. Like that whisper in the wall, sliding inside of my bed. With every lie that you said, I need you out of my head. Cause
you're not real. You're a ghost.
Wombo kumpi mpulira bwomi. Oh, mukwano gwo gunyuma okunyumya. Naye lino tondo budde tebumala. Baby nze nkwagala, mukwano nze nkwagala. Mbadde nga noonya nze kyenkuwa kimbuze ekisinga okwagala. Oh, baby nze nkwagala, mukwano nze nkwagala. Mbadde nga noonya nze kyenkuwa kimbuze ekisinga okwagala. Mpisi bwa bubi bw'oba ng'oli wekka. Mbeera sisobola kugumiikiriza tube ffenna. Mukwano oli malayika emisana over night time. Singabika, don't know I love you. Baby nze nkwagala, mukwano nze nkwagala. Mbadde nga noonya nze kyenkuwa kimbuze ekisinga okwagala. Oh, baby nze nkwagala, mukwano nze nkwagala. Mbadde nga noonya nze kyenkuwa kimbuze ekisinga okwagala. Nkuwulira buna mu musaayi. Wombo kumpi mpulira bwomi. Oh, mukwano gwo gunyuma okunyumya. Naye lino tondo budde tebumala. Mukwano oli malayika emisana over night time. Singabika, don't know I love you. Baby nze nkwagala, mukwano nze nkwagala. Mbadde nga noonya nze kyenkuwa kimbuze ekisinga okwagala. Oh, baby nze nkwagala, mukwano nze nkwagala. Mbadde nga noonya nze kyenkuwa kimbuze ekisinga okwagala. Soka nkuwe omukwano gwo, omukwano gwo. Kyangu okine omukwano gwo, omukwano.
Omukwano ulina omanyize nawe tulichama. Mama one wanakuwanga kubuka ekikomero okutolokanga. Olina okuyiyanga engeri zonna ndabanga. Kuba ogonanga pamba yenza alina okunyeganga. Naye si ku musalaba bayagala yabafiirira. Nze mukwano kyenkusaba kintu kitono nnyo wuliriza. Sembera tombawa naye nza kwagala okama naye. Tontega mu nzikiza ye, tonzigalira mu lukamada. Tolina nakyo ngamba ye, nyiga wake tonninza ye. Wondaba ne weemola ye, nga tonna ndaba ne weesunga ye. Omukwano ulina, come to me. Tima kwange, tontega mwisoni. Naye lwaki ombikage bakuli. Lwaki onkubisa omusipi. Leero kuno tombona. Kuba ninamu n'essente mama. Ngenda kugula buli kyontuma. Kwerabise kiboko mama sakubanga. Naye si ku musalaba bayagala yabafiirira. Nze mukwano kyenkusaba kintu kitono nnyo wuliriza. Sembera tombawa naye yenza kwagala ukamanai tontega munzigizai tonzigalila muntamada tolina nakyongambay andika wake toniza bawona bane wemolai nga tonna ndaba ne wesunga
I just did the black man, you know.
Oh my God, Bomba made my beat.
Baby, napagala tubere fembi Bambinga oli Zikakana mutima mami Yubikati nabadu Baby, you're my soulmate, soulmate Nafuka private Baby, you're my soulmate, soulmate. Nafuka private, private. My baby, you're my addiction, and everywhere I go, a selection. Titwale no possession, atosula kumutwe me need an action. Hey na na na, with your love no myomutwe. Pena sababu zibe buche. Nikuma pesa kubye nyige. Baby, reduce on the games you play. Uli chambe cha mukajanga janga. Kuba wifunira yo bali balwanga. Kati tugenda mu myezi nga tojja. Bemba nakusobya mukwano ngamba. Nambo chatulenze nanesomye. You're my super girl divine. Nambo botideze ndutambule kuba ememme jesula. Baby, you're my soulmate. Soulmate, nafuka private, private. Baby, you're my soulmate, soulmate. Nafuka private, private. Baby, you're my top dog. Everywhere I go, you are my dog. That you chondaza, chimanye wangenze vyaya. Amazima someone ante kunyiwa. Oh no 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 no. Nambi mkwano kwange nawe. Amazima someone ante kunyiwa. Nambo chatulenze nanesomye. You're my super girl divine. Nambo botideze ndutambule kuba ememme jesula. Baby, you're my soulmate. Soulmate, nafuka private, private. Baby, you're my soulmate, soulmate. Nafuka private, private. Baby, you're my soulmate, soulmate. Nafuka private, private. You're my soulmate, soulmate. Nafuka private, private.
So when my love I go bone bone, you the one fi come. Calm me down, make me come down. Me love your voice, how your tongue song. Y'all mind my girl, you're the right one. I know you're there for me when necessary. Yeah, you're there for me when necessary. Saw me there for you when necessary. If I delay today, I'm sorry. Motivate me, wasibukawa. Sisobola kuleke chonga sichiwa. Okumpamba kwe wayitawa. Waitawa. She don't want me there alone. She said she don't care about what I do. She don't want me there alone. She said she don't care about what I do. My girl, can you tell me what you're feeling? My girl, can you tell me how you're feeling? My girl, I know you got a real feeling for me, for me. I know you wanna let go away from me. I know you only do good things for me. Anything you do, I know you do it for me. No boy can take you away from me. Motivate me, wasibokawa. Sisobola kuleke chonga sechiwa. Okumpamba kwe waitawa, waitawa. She don't want me there alone. She said she don't care about what I do. She don't want me there alone. She said she don't care about what I do. Come closer to my body. Can you call me your daddy? You're my baby. Anything, baby. Come closer to my body. Can you call me your daddy? You're my baby. Anything. So when my love I go bone, you're the one fi come. Calm me down, make me come down. Me love your voice, away your tongue song. Y'all mind my girl, you're the right one. I know you're there for me when necessary. Girl, you're there for me when necessary. Saw me there for you when necessary. If I delay today, I'm sorry. Motivate me, wasibokawa. Sisobola kuleke chonga sechiwa. Okumpamba kwe waitawa, waitawa. She don't want me there alone. She said she don't care about what I do. She don't want me there.
Aroma Lele simpandi video Kana maso gola baga tunu zendari Ningo mupiro gutali na mpaji Yege Lwa mkwano godadi Olinga taduba izunza samu Mwencho kugoberera busowera Onsula mutwe numbula kulaluka Abalala teba nkolera bipapula Bakonya maluswe bisanizo tebalina Naye gwe wachanga chido kali Owanvu babugege no wankuwe tali Neye nari nkweganya nubya buri Love ubusanyo wapado na kakebe. Can you teach me how to love? Chami sana na chagulo. Baby teach me how to love. Chami sana na chagulo. Ankwagala chami sana na chagulo. Ngomu choli kukalo. Era nkuyo ya chami sana na chagulo. Misana kabubachiro. Love yankutenta de kudimama. Injogenze bimara malusumuka mwamwa. Ondi kumutuntu de kutobaba. Natokoseza matokege waka. Obuderempe ubunize kumacha. Chechikezeza kuletere tuta. Alikupata kondi musamabali. Ndikwesiba koka kondo kempali. Omukwano ngukumye guri mubikebi. Gubula kokwe ojetu mujule. Can you teach me how to love? Show me sana na chagulo. Baby teach me how to love. Show me sana na chagulo. Ankwagala show me sana na chagulo. Ngomu choli kukalo. Era nkuyo ya show me sana na chagulo. Misana kabubachiro. Gana maso gola baga tunu zendari. Ningo mupiro gutali na mpaji. Yege Lwa mukwano godadi. Olinga taduba izunza samu Mwencho kugoberera busowera Onsula mutwe numbula kulaluka Abalala teba nkolera bipapula Bakonya maluswe bisanizo tebalina Alikupata kondi musamabali Ndikwesiba koka kondo kempali Omukwano ngukumye guri mubikebi Gubula kokwe ojetu bujule. Can you teach me how to love? Chami sana na chagulo. Baby teach me how to love. Chami sana na chagulo. Ankwagala chami sana na chagulo. Ngo mucholi kukalo Era nkuyoya cho misana na chagulo Misana kabugachiro Ankwagala cho misana na chagulo
Bumpy Zuli thumbs. I found this girl at the babas. Jenali nyenzo sala kapata. Nensanga omwana yabala. Mwana yaliko skin color. She had everything in balance. Muna chalo atamanyi basama. Ngalabikanga fala. Ate ngalabikanga jua. Mwana yali atukulange toke linyige. Yali azo kusala kapata katembireke. Tapu hiyo omwana oyo mulabe tapu yanzijira mauno. Tapu hiyo omwana oyo mulabe tapu yanzijira mulaba mauno. I really don't know what to say. Woman, them got me sleeping like a king. Okuvanze when I'm mulaba, she lit up me world like the Jinn Aladdin. Ooh, yo, hey. Ooh, yo. Omwana natukulange toke linyige.